Put problème for.
Eh?
Put problème for. I go ahead.
I'm waiting for my boy Ansu.
All right, folks. So let me say good evening. Welcome. 26 minutes past 9 o'clock. It's here on Truth 96.1. This is the Renaissance Radio. Welcome to our closing argument. Comes on from Monday to Friday at this time here, straight up to 12:30 a.m. And sometimes we've the argument get tough. We run it up to 2 o'clock. So let me say hi, Sam. This is the number one nighttime program back home. It is already already night hour because it passed 9 already. Running up to midnight. So welcome to Closing the Argument. This is your number one platform. Let me say good evening to those of you across Liberia, as far as Sierra Leone, Guinea, and Africa. Tonight you're dying to Closing the Argument. I say good evening, welcome. My name is Ansu. I'm here with the team back home. Mine is the one who's screaming the program live on the Closing the Argument page. I'm also here with Heron, who are supporting me at the back. Yeah, so we're getting signal from our team of panelists already. We have to leave our main studio and join the guys where we seen my own big boys on the screen already. Chief Jerome Gateman and Chief Tomalin Josh. They are both already on the screen. So let's bring them on and officially welcome them to the Telgz edition though. To the mark the 8th day in the month of May 2025. Chief, good afternoon. What's the time in the US? Is it afternoon or morning?
It's afternoon. It's 5:27
I come in.
p.m.
I'm trying to just hold on one. Let me just get it muted down. Okay, you can go ahead.
It's 5:27 p.m.
Why? So it's eerie now.
Yes, 5:27 p.m. in the great state of Florida. If you're in the Miami market, the West Palm Beach market, Fort Lauderdale, this is where we are.
Okay. Yeah.
The chief is on. I guess. Chief George, are you here? Okay, the chief is busy. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the Closing Argument. We are almost there. Tomorrow will be a beautiful Friday, but as usual, if it's Thursday, we got something to talk about. And then we have spoken about it all week long. You have to close the argument. And when you are closing the argument, we insist that you be factual. Your comments, your allegation be followed by evidentiary markings. We are looking for a document. We're looking for numbers. We're looking for statistics. If you are going to compare and contrast, you got to have something to compare with. If you're going to contrast, you got to have somebody to contrast. So sometimes, and not always, we will insist that you bring your numbers, you bring your facts. If you make outlandish comments, we will still push you to come out and give us evidence. As the case is going to be today, Dr. Taney is returning. He had promised me that he was going to come back yesterday with evidence that the Gongloes, that Councillor Gongloe was the lawyer for the bill to divide NIMA into 3 parts. And we push him. We say it was false. He said he had the evidence, documentary evidence. He was going to present them yesterday. On the other hand, the Gongloes, the network, sent us the original document dated December 15, 2014. And the document is here. Proof beyond all reasonable doubts that Dr. Tenney was not truthful. Dr. Tenney didn't know what he was talking about. Dr. Tenney was talking loosely. So I heard today he contacted his CEO. He wanted a few minutes. He did not want to spend an hour. He didn't want to be grilled. He wants to come for a few minutes, clarify, and leave. The most, he said, 10 minutes. But I'm asking Dr. Tenney to stay the whole hour. Let's debate the issue. Let's close the argument. The Gongloes will be here. The Gongloes will be watching. And let's see how Dr. Tenney is going to turn this to a favorite liking to himself and to those that he promised. So when you come on these shows, especially the closing argument when Ansu is in the studio, and you make these claims, you know we'll push back. You know we have the ability to check. You know we have the ability to dig, and we'll dig and dig and dig. And if it's public record, we will find it. So, Ansu, we are here. The doctor was supposed to come back yesterday. He didn't come, but he called, said he will be here. So before we go any further, let me read part of this document sent from the Gongloes. And it says here, and it was written for the newspaper out of Georgia called The Perspective. And the headline is, the claim of marginalization of the Ma or the Dan people of Nimba, a product of self-centered, divisive, political game planners doomed for failure. That is the title. And it was written by Councillor Tiawanse Gongloe and Zeyi B. Deke, the first. Written for the newspaper called The Perspective, based in Atlanta, Georgia, December 15, 2014. The brief overview. Nimba County remains one of the 2 sub-political divisions in Liberia that have resisted the temptation of disintegration. During the Taylor administration, when Lofa and Grand Jide counties were being politically split into 2 counties each, Nimba resisted the pressure of disintegration from the high-placed political leaders, mostly not Nimbayans, in government. The focus of the Nimba people at the time was on elevating the level of political governance of the county by the creation of a statutory district or statutory districts, administrative districts, townships, chiefdoms, clans, and managerial district to suit the size and population. The knowledge, the prominence of this integration are lacking if the founders of Nimba County envisage and engrave unity in the hearts and minds of the Myean to be their strength and authority in the embodiment of the national politics. Evidently, the vision for Nimba County founder has, from time and again, been tested and demonstrated as reflected in Nimba responses to national crisis and event irrespective of national disagreement with county governance, authorities, or dissatisfaction with conditions of governance. The success scored in hosting and handling national and international events beginning with the formation meeting of the Organization of African Unity in Saniquili in 1969 to the hosting and handling of the 3 Liberian Independence Day anniversary in 1972, 1999, and 2010 arguably demonstrate and justify the true reflection of unity and cultural hospitality to the Nima people. This is in just a part of the statement, the letter, or the article written December 15, 2014, written by Councillor Nyenwolo Gongloe and B. Deki, the first, written for the Perspective newspaper based in Atlanta, Georgia, December 15, 2014. And I just read a brief overview of the document sent to me by the Gongloe Network, the Gongloe family. So before I go any further, let me welcome Dr. Lester Tenney. Doctor, welcome back to the closing argument.
Thank you.
Great. Ladies and gentlemen, do us a favor, share this show, send in your comments. We'll have the time for you to make calls. But if you have any argument with Ansu, with the chief, with the chairman of the board here, this is where you come to make the closing argument. We will push back. You have to be factual. You have to show evidence. You have to show percentages. If you are going to compare and contrast, you have to have something to compare. You have something to contrast. If you make remarks, we will dig and we'll dig and we'll dig and we'll get to the bottom until we can get to an amicable agreement. Dr. Tenney, welcome to the show. Hopefully you are doing well in the Monrovia area. Your light is on, and that's great. How is the family? How is Monrovia?
My family on vacation. Monrovia is fine.
Beautiful. Ladies and gentlemen, we had a brief conversation on the Nimba situation, the disintegration of Nimba. The Gongloes were involved, or they were cited. And Dr. Tenney told me and the audience that he had evidence to prove that Councillor Gongloe was the lawyer on the bill that was submitted in the House to disintegrate or to divide Nimba. And we pushed back on it. He said he was coming yesterday. He didn't come, but we're glad he's here. So the Gongloes wanted me to present this to you, and hopefully you can address what you meant when you said Honorable Councillor Gongloe was the leading lawyer or lawyer on that case to disintegrate or divide Nimba County.
Okay, so I spoke with Tier1. Tier1 is a colleague of mine. He teaches at the law school, and I teach at the graduate school. And he expressed some concern that, in fact, he and Deki have been on the front for a unified Nimba. And so we had a conversation that actually I say there was a bill that was actually, it never came up plenary, but there was a bill calling for, he said, yeah, there was a bill. There was a bill. In fact, it is true, there was a bill. I say, okay, and my source told me that you were the lawyer for that bill, even though it never reached plenary. He said, no, I wasn't. I said, okay, then can you give me a couple of hours, let me further research? And I went to my source from where I got it from, and the statement began to change. So I asked somebody who was there at that time. They said, no, Tier1 was not the lawyer. In fact, Tier1 had never been the lawyer for the major actor involved. I said, oh, okay. Then I placed a call to Tier1. I said, oh, no, you were not the lawyer. So I retract the statement that you were the lead lawyer for the division of Nimba, even though there was a bill. And we both agreed that there was a bill. So he wasn't a lawyer.
So publicly, you are retracting that what your comment here
was... that's what professionals do. You research when you find out that your research have fault, you have made the fault, and so I retract that portion that he was the lawyer. I did not retract the fact that there was a bill,
No,
but he wasn't a lawyer.
the argument was not the bill. The argument was that you said he was the
He
lead
was not a lawyer.
on that case. So what we are saying here, you admit that the information you proffer here was
He was
false.
not the no. The information was misleading. He was not a lawyer.
Okay. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Tenney has admitted that the information he gave was misleading, and you have to give him credit. There are many folks, when they make mistakes, they double down. The doctor said, as we all do from time to time, you cite sources, and sometimes, and most of the time, 99% of the time, your sources are right. Now, 1% of the time, the sources may not be accurate, but then it takes a man, a real person, could be a woman, take somebody with courage and character to come and say, I was wrong. And Doc, I appreciate that. I think that's what we all should learn from. You make an error, you come on, you take ownership, and then we go back to square one. So this was honorable on your part. I think the Gongloes, I think they will feel better that, you know, the relationship, as you said, it remain firm and cordial and professional. And for those of you young folk, young politicians out here, young men and women, including myself, when you make an error, there's nothing wrong with saying you err. It takes nothing away from your character. In fact, it builds your character. That you can deal with me whenever I'm wrong. I will look you in the face and tell you I'm wrong. I'm never too big. I'm never too, or even in our own homes, our children, if you got girls, especially girls, they will demand that you apologize if you did something wrong, if you said something wrong. And you should be big enough to say, hey, young lady, I was wrong. And I can tell you I got twin girls. I went to the mall in Palm Beach to shop, and I saw two beautiful dresses that I thought would look good on them. And I bought the dresses and I brought it home, and they said, Daddy, we will not wear the dress because we are not teenagers anymore. And I told them, I'm sorry. I should have taken you along, and you should have made your own choices. So that's what family people do. That's what men do. But let me welcome Mr. Gongloe here. Tier one, the statistician. Kehleboe, how you doing, sir?
Fine.
Well, it looks like you were coming on, and the doctor dropped off. But we did talk to the doctor briefly. He admitted that his sources was wrong. The comment he made was wrong, and he came to retract what he said, and commended him for coming on, being brave enough to come and take blame that the position he took, the comments he made were not true.
All right. So thank you, Mr. Gilman. I like the way you handle the issues. I spoke with Dr. Tanner. Lester he's my friend. Like I said to you, I said to many friends, I don't just go to people's house easily. There are many people I know that have never visited their house. They've come to my house, some of them, but we mostly meet out there. Lester Tanner, I've been to Lester Tanner's house. It took me courage to go and sit with him at his house to lecture. We spoke yesterday, and we spoke this morning when I was on my way to work, and he promised he will come here to clarify. But I think he fell short of saying everything he said to me. His research revealed, which is true, that bill was submitted to plenary. It was submitted and was read. He received a first reading at the plenary, and it was filed by Senator-elect Samuel Koga. He filed that. He submitted that bill. Okay? And Lester admitted to me that his research revealed that it was Senator-elect Samuel Koga who was behind the bill to divide NIMBA into 3 counties, so NIMBA can have 6 senators. But he didn't want to say this one because during the Guar election, he was supporting Samuel Koga. He didn't want to say this one publicly, but he did say to me, and which is true because Samuel Koga was the one, and there are records there. Because I know all the guys who were involved, Medrick Gondi, Morris Way, and the other people, they were involved. God spoke with them, you know, and these guys provided a very economical, a very political, a very cogent reason why the Tonga should be split into 3 counties. Okay, they had a compelling. They did the research. They even designed a map of how each county will look like. How many districts will be in each county? What will be the estimate population estimate for each county? And they provided those arguments. Okay, so and Koga bought into that, and Koga submitted a bill. It was read and sent to committee room, but the Nimba Legislative Caucus under the chairmanship of Prince Johnson stepped into it and it never came back from committee room. No, but I'm glad that he had the courage to come, admit that yes, I was wrong. But I thought really what professors do is to research before they speak, because it's normally not the case where you talk before you research. You know, I thought really that's what you needed to do. But as a mayor, I'm okay. I'm satisfied. I offer $5,000, which I don't have money. I was going to be paying him in installment. Once he proved that, because I'm very man, this is
just send me the 5,000, man.
This is a politics that Jeremiah Kuhn and his agents have been on for the past decade in Nimba. They see the Gongloe family, for some reason they fear them. Not because we have money, but because we have a bigger image in Liberia. Many Liberians respect the Gongloe, particularly Councillor Gongloe and Madam Way. They are the political people in my family. For us, we are just little people doing our lay 1-2-1-2 in the corner. People don't know or we're not popular. But these 2 people, Madam Ide Gongloe and Councillor Gongloe, they target them. Even the late Prince Johnson, he was on Spoon Network saying Councillor Gongloe is a stranger in Nimba. These are all attempts to undermine them, to say these people are strangers. You know, it's because they fear them that if these people have power, their approach to governance is different from their approach to governance. So they have to do everything to keep them away from mainstream power. And this is what it's all about. For Lester to even come and say those things that he had little knowledge of, you listen to him. He said when he went back to his agent, the person who tried to use him as agent to come and spew this false rule, the person started changing their tone. That's how he decided to go forward to do a research, to talk to another person who was present. You listen to that. The truth is that part. So somebody told him to come and say, and those are the lives who target Madam Way and Councillor Gongloe.
Great. Let me welcome Sylvester Pewee. How you doing there? The Dean of the Diplomatic Corps of the closing argument. How you doing there, sir?
I'm good. I'm good. The fact that I came on and Lester Life and but I'm doing good on a serious note. The fact that he will come out and clarify is good. Let me commend him for the bold and sincere step to do that. That's the most humble thing to do. That's what we refer to do the needful. But let me also push this process to say that's why in diplomacy we say you listen more and you talk less, and you do some analysis. We follow signals in diplomacy, and that's why it's not all the time we want to portray ourselves that we are the town choir in town. If you portray yourself to be the town choir, sometimes you be a stupid town choir, and you be the town choir that will be used as an instrument of destruction. Then you come and expose yourself
to carry force music.
Yes, the instrument of destruction, and you come back and time to time retracting statements. What it does is sometimes all the time, and what it does is that it put cautions on your credibility. That's part of the process. It brings to bear caution on your credibility. Particularly,
let me hold you right there on that. I don't know how good is your Latin. Mine is not too good, but I got somebody that my days of Bassa High School, there were two phrases in Latin. One is Turin Lucis, Tower of Light, and the other one is in Latin. It says there, falsus in uno, falsus in omnibus. When one is a lie, all is a lie.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's on the basis of law also. The same when it's fundamentally, when it's not done legally, it's not done at all.
So here we are. The doctor said, I wanted him to be on for an hour to face, the crew. He said no, he could give us only 10 minutes. He wanted to admit and leave. But Honorable, I would have preferred. Well, I gave him some credit for coming out here.
Yeah, myself, I gave him some credit.
It would have behooved him. Well, no, not really, because it won't behoove him, because now we're going to be digging into everything else, because if this one is false, then everything else that follows is supposed to be false. And I know he didn't want, because he know where we were going.
Yeah, exactly.
He didn't want to do that, because now that I was going to read this phrase, but he wouldn't give me a chance to read it. I was going to ask him.
Beyond that, and that's where I was headed, actually, especially if you are someone that pushed to be the perfect man in town, and the person that said he shook up the econ department. Ever since when I was at the University of Liberia, there have been very brilliant young men and women at the econ department and the rest of that. And to say most of them operated that way. And if you came and pushed all those things, and you say you are the integrity icon, and you came out and give, not only that you embellished the statements you gave, but it was unfounded, and it was intentional and maliciously meant to try to tarnish a particular group of people or family that they are dividing the county. And you come back in less than 48 hours and retract said statement and say, so it was intentionally done. But again, what he does not understand that this got the proclivity of hampering his reputation. The next time he came, because, when we were on the show that day, a lot of things he said I challenged it also in terms of the issue of a double dipping, and I knew for a fact, even our Constitution talk about one taking double emolument, right? It is in the Constitution. Then we have the Public Financial Management Law. The PFM law also spoke vehemently against that. And so you cannot be with the university like you're a full-time employee and be a consultant with the university. That cannot be. I don't know on what circumstances. Again, probably this new president of the university, not understanding the culture of our country, not understanding the law deeply, not understanding the system, but she should understand better also that here, you cannot have two full-time employees in one institution.
That's right.
This is the best practice we have here, right? So again, that went on. I challenged that. It came again. I said because of the lack of professionals in in our own tertiary institution, so they're going to give room. Yes, they gave room to that with the condition that those people that will have full-time employment will take part-time functions at the University of Liberia. And that part-time, they limited it to at least 3 or 4 courses per individual if you were to engage in the process, right? So let's say Gayman is coming to teach public administration. This Sunday, he will take that 3 or maximum 4 courses, and each of the courses you get paid $100 per course for that semester. You're not going to be an employee of the institution. There's not going to be a contract of part-time issue you come and take for that semester. So every month you get paid. Every month you get paid until the semester is done, right, for a course. So that's the engagement that we came up to at the time. But again, it's good that he would take the bold stand, and I respect people, and myself can do this. I garner the hope and the coverage to come in and say things that I know, and that's why I'm very mindful. I'm mindful to accuse people. I'm mindful. If you saw me, Gayman, when we engaging, challenging myself, and I say I mean what I'm saying, meaning I've done my research. That's why I don't pretend to know all. I don't know all, but what I will do is that I take time to learn. And even when I was with the foreign ministry, I normally took time. I would sit with people like the senior, like Ambassador Wallace, a lot of those senior ambassadors and the rest of that, And listen, and Ambassador Raoul Lumiere, a very smart, prolific diplomatic writer, sit with them and try to tap into their wisdom, their understanding of diplomacy, their understanding of public diplomacy and the engagement thereof. So people like Harold Famuda, the now ambassador destined to Egypt, a consummate public diplomat and a career diplomat we have rather, and these are people like the former deputy minister Eli Shunian. So we tap into the basic of those people to understand more. So in diplomacy, we were told to listen more, find signals, and take time to navigate through the system, because diplomacy and bureaucracy, they are intertwined. So sometimes when you see those guys behaving in the kind of theatrical mood, so it's just sometimes.
Tell me, what signal are you seeing? Just kidding.
You don't know, I can tell you the signal.
I'm just kidding. Honorable George, let me welcome Honorable Namwe here. J. Victor Namwe, Northeast Regional Chair for CMC USA. Welcome, sir.
What's up, gentlemen? You got a chief smiling. I don't know whether he's smirking or he's
Listen,
how you guys doing?
The chief, they don't want to be on this segment between me and Dr. Tenney. I don't know whether he knows Dr. Tenney personally, but soon Dr. Tenney was coming on. He went to get a drink. I hope of water. But ladies and gentlemen, I want to take this time to congratulate all.
It is deliberate on his part?
No, I won't say that because I didn't see the signal.
No. I saw the signal.
You saw the signal?
I saw the signal. You know the signal? Victor was in Monrovia and he had dinner with President Bouaka. That's President Bouaka's nephew.
Okay.
They have breakfast every morning. So Victor is trying to be in the picture, and he can't afford to do anything.
So are we going to have another clarification?
Are
we going to have another clarification tomorrow, because now Mr. Gongloe has to bring his facts?
That's right.
To show where I had dinner with the president.
Yeah, you got to tell her when and what.
Dinner could be. I'm probably using dinner like trying to maybe lack of better description, but in your own words, you met President Bouaka.
I met the president, but my understanding of dinner, food has to be involved.
The president, usually they drink something.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, real quick here, let me pay homage and respect to all Catholics around the world. We have a new Pope. And when you look at the dynamics of the Vatican, we had 133 approved cardinals that were voting. Other than that, we had 18 African cardinals. So the chances of an African being a cardinal were 13%. I did the research. We did the numbers.
Say Pope.
Pope, yes, Pope. The cardinals were 133 that were eligible to vote. Out of the 133, 18 were African cardinals. So our chances of getting a Pope were 13%. However, the Shaka in 2,000 years, now out of Chicago, we have a cardinal now who is the Pope. And Victor Namwe, you the Catholic here, how did he become Leo the 14th? Talk to me, how does it work? I am Jerome Gayman, I become Pope now, I'm Pope Leo the 14th. How does that happen?
So can I come in for the Catholic come in?
Yeah, yeah. You see the signal, go ahead.
I'm a small Catholic. My father was a devoted Catholic, so I do understand much of that also.
Educate me, how does it work?
Yeah, so basically, quickly, I would say this on 1 minute. He took the name after Leo the 13th. Pope would basically come and admire Pope before them, and the legacy is set the way. So he took immediately when the conclave emerged, when the white smoke is out, and the conclave come out after elections, then they will move quickly. All the cardinal will move and push to that person that was elected. Are you willing to take the seat? Then he would agree, yeah, I'm going to take the seat. Then they will push up for the ring to come first and foremost. You see the ring? That ring is carved as a particular culture to carve the ring, and he would now select the garment. The reason why we had a delay for him coming up because normally Pope would come and speak extemporaneously, but for him, he wrote his speech today. So that why it took some time. But yeah, he took the name after Pope Leo the Tech Team. So now, saying he took the name, that he's going to be Pope Leo the 14th eventually. So that's one of the reasons why. But we will go deep later on that basic. But his papacy is one thing that we expect to be very. Take a watch. They're going to be a pope to see on the field. It's a historic something, but it's very good also for this powerful country.
Great. The Catholic of J. Victor Namwe, in 2,000 years, the United States has its first pope. Now, I don't know if Myean is in the back, but I would like for you to look at the photo of President Trump. When people, they put the robe and the whole regalia, and they say Pope. They said Trump said he was a Pope. And people are now saying, is this guy special? Did he predict this? Is this a self-fulfilling prophecy? that a young cardinal, 69 years old,
that would be like
Chicago, a young Pope compared to the other ones, 69, becoming a Catholic Pope. This is serious.
You know, Dennis, not Dennis, Jerome. The presidents, they get briefings that you and I don't even come anywhere close to. So they get a lot of exclusive insiders briefing. The selection of this Pope today was not the first attempt. Several attempts were made. Usually, as the attempts are being made, the choices are narrowed. They're being narrowed. So I think President Trump may have had some insiders information as to who they were narrowing on. And so, yes, he did make a prediction which turned out to be true. And I agree with Sylvester in everything he said. Quite frankly, some of the stuff he said I was unaware of. So I have to give him, take the hats off to him. But yes, in the Catholic tradition, even when you are baptized, you're given a baptismal name, a name from the Bible, as much as you will be Jerome. But when you are baptized, you also take a biblical name.
And what is yours?
I forgot, but I got that.
Oh no!
I remember mine.
Yeah.
What is your Gongloe? What is yours?
When I got baptized, I was called Peter.
Oh, Peter!
Exactly.
There you go.
Yeah. And my first name is James. I'm gonna go out here and say I believe my name may have been James, or I forgot. It's been a long time, Jerome. Okay. But yeah, so Sylvester is quite on that. So yeah, as you go into these roles, you take on names, like this Pope. I understand, you may have admired the work of Pope 13, so he decided to, take that name. But a little bit more than that, I was listening to the commentary on NPR coming in. The Pope before him, he was from Argentina, from the third world, the global South. And so he did a lot to liberalize, the people say he brought in a lot of representation, as you said, even cardinals from Latin American, more cardinals from Latin American countries as well as Africa. And this new Pope, he was an advisor to this Pope. It is hoped that he will continue in that tradition of openness. Although there are concerns, one, there's a reason why they have always shied away from taking a Pope from the U.S., because the U.S. is a very powerful country. I mean, you don't need that much power again. But it's been reported that they think this guy is coming to kind of serve as a counterbalance to what Trump is doing here in the States. And so they think he might take very seriously the whole question of immigration very seriously. This refugee situation, they think he might. So everybody's watching what his first move is going to be. And so we're very hopeful that, he will kind of help to kind of slow one way or the other, slow some of the stuff that's happening globally. Because let's be honest, Trump is really shaking up the world in many different ways. And, most of them not in a good way, And so hopefully this Pope will help kind of balance things out.
And quickly to that also, even before now, when he was state cardinal, he openly disagreed and criticized the current vice president. And since he got elected to the Pope, vice president had not even come up to commend him or whatsoever.
Right.
Openly, yes, even just quite recently, he said, "Hey, Vince, you are wrong on this one. Moving forward." So yeah, he's going to be, and it's one of the reasons why. And listen, he was not actually they were not factoring into the system. It just erupted because of the current situation here. That's why you saw what unfolded. They thought to bring this because they needed a pope that would have the voice, particularly from here. And what they're going to do is going to resonate and change the political culture also here in this country, right? Because we have 6%, 6 or 7% Catholic form part of the population of this country. 6 or 7% of them. 6 or 7%. Remember, so the
powerful 6 or 7%.
Yes, very powerful, and they take some very powerful decisions in terms of the politics. We've had 2 presidents, I think 2. I stand to be corrected, 2 or 3 American presidents themselves being devoted Catholic. The most recent, Joe Biden, and that of JFK. So maybe there will be other amendments. Not know that, but yes, it's going to be this. It's going to send a very huge issue. But he also very close allied to the foreign pope, right? So his papacy is going to be one that is going to come out to be. He's going to be very outspoken on a lot of things. And you remember, he's a multilingual. He speaks more than 6 languages.
Yes, I understood. He gave his first language. The first speech was given in Italian.
Yeah, Italian. He speaks Italian fluently, right? He speaks Spanish.
Then he ended in Latin.
Latin, yes, that's correct. And also French. Of course, English is his mother tongue and the rest of that. So yes, and also the folks are all celebrating. He graduated from the university in Philadelphia and all of things. So 1977 and all.
University.
Yes, so I mean, so he's going to be celebrated.
Villanova University.
Oh, Villanova. Oh,
yeah. I mean, I tear down when the name him on a serious note because of the history to that issue coming to him. Because they have the Catholic Church, the Pope is the leader of almost 1 billion people.
Of course.
So it's a very powerful person, and this voice is needed now.
As a Catholic, I have a different view to the selection or the election of an American Pope.
Okay, go ahead.
We live in this country. The Catholic Church is dying in America. The church, the only established church in the United States that is selling or building faster at a faster rate is the Catholic Church. Because of the sex scandal, where victims were claiming millions and millions and millions of dollars from the Catholic Church, the church almost became bankrupt in the United States. So they've been selling churches. In fact, admission to the religious order in the United States is declining. There are many churches now in urban areas in the United States that they are bringing priests from Africa, from third world country, to oversee these churches. In fact, in Philadelphia, there are some parishes where one priest is visiting 2 or 3 parishes on a Sunday to preach. So I think the focus should have been really either on Asia or Africa, where the church is growing. These are the 2 continents in Latin America that the church is growing. Focus on that. You don't go to where the church is declining. The politics in the United States, we all know it. Joe Biden, yes, he's a Catholic and he was the president. But what did the bishops do to him? They stopped him from taking communion because of his stand on abortion. Because the very Pope that just passed away, when he gave that order, the Catholic who do not obey this should not receive blessed communion. Joe Biden was denied communion. Okay? And this Pope that is coming will follow the same. Okay? So the idea that he could come and checkmate maybe Trump because he has a different worldview from Donald Trump. Hey, man, let's be straight out here. Many of the American cardinals or bishops here, they are Republican leaning anyway. They are conservative. So the vote will mostly conservative politicians. Okay? You have the Rick Senator of the world from Pennsylvania who are very ultra-conservative. Sometimes you can almost call them racist, So I don't know how it changed really in the politics in the United States. So for me, well, the cardinal made a decision, but as a Catholic, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. I can say.
But you already taking it the highlight.
The good thing,
it's a very good development.
Oh, you listen. The good thing is where the church is in decline, it's still the power base. And one of the things that he could do as a young man is to rebuild.
Exactly.
That you were talking about. Okay. No matter what, the majority of the funding from the Catholic Church comes from the United States either way. So that's another thing to look at. You have to rebuild, you have to recruit, and you cannot blame the decline of the Catholic population on the behavior. It is the decline of the birth rate in these United States and in the West. And you know, religiosity, the more educated the people are, the less likely they are to be ultra-conservative, ultra-religious. So the decline of the birth rate in the West, it affects everybody.
No, I think Jerome, I think it's a little more than that. Like the new movement, the new Christian movement, the Protestant, the guys who always visit God every night. I had a vision.
The prosperity,
the prosperity Christianity. They are promising you, they're praying for you to get visa. They're praying for you to get job. The same vision. The Catholic Church priest is not seeing vision. They're not praying for you to have this. So we're increasing poverty around the world, around the globe. People are trooping towards a prosperity Christianity. Those are promising then a relief tomorrow morning. That all you need to do is just pray. Just take the olive oil, rub it on your full hair. That's the place the war is headed. Go to Liberia today, even in Philadelphia. Come here and see how many African churches are here with olive oil, you know? So, I mean, this is where the war is going, not just because of development or declining birth rate. In Liberia, the other churches are growing faster compared to Catholic, Methodist, and Baptist combined.
Of course, because the word you use there is the method. It's a method. That's what nobody wants to do. These people want to do. Like my church, I'm an African Methodist, okay? When I'm in Monrovia, I go to Eliza Turner.
Now you're struggling with gay issue now.
So when I'm in Monrovia, I go to Eliza Turner, okay, on Camp Johnson Road. The same thing, we're having the same problem. Even the younger folks the younger preachers from the church, they are going out and opening their own churches because they do not want to be controlled. They do not want to follow the discipline. But let me welcome the chief. Dr. Tenney was on, and he did an honorable thing. He decided to apologize for being misleading. He didn't tell the truth. So this is kudos to your platform, to our platform here. The closing argument for demanding that whatever you say here, besides what we are joking about, it should be followed by facts. If you are going to tarnish somebody's reputation, it should be genuine, besides joking. So it was good that we pushed back hard, and he had to come and admit that he lied and it wasn't good, and he wanted to apologize and retract. And I gave him credit for coming out here, because it's not an easy thing to come out after he come out and make all these rhetoric. I mean, there were a lot that were going to push back, but he decided to cut his losses and leave. And I think that was good, because we were ready to take him on the Joseph Boycott thing. First of all, we admit, and we make it clear here, if you are conflicted, you have to have a disclaimer. He came out here conflicted, never told us that he was related to Joseph Boycott, the President JMB. He never told us that he lived with the man when he was at Cathedral. He never told us all of these things. Now, when we dug deeper, then he came back and said, yes, I didn't live there, even though I slept there regularly and I ate there regularly, but I didn't live there. How in the world were you eat in somebody's house, sleep in their house, your whole high school year, and you say you didn't live there? So these are the things that we just can't father. But We got the Dr. Kimon that made it, and then we have the Pope. Our U.S., the United States, in 2000, got a fresh Pope. Your take on those two issues?
Yes. First of all, let me say thank you for the way you handled the issue with Professor Tenney. That's the honorable thing to do. To if you said something wrong, if was misleading, it's always good to come and if you admit your fault. And I think he earned some respect today. People respect him for what he did today. I think because he was able to come and admit the fact to face the same audience and face people from across because the thing is that people watching you, the people that you see on the platform that in the comment section, they're not all of them who are watching. Some people watch, they don't like to show their name. They watch quietly. Some people watching or listen to the radio, they're in their cars and everything. So people watch the show different ways. So people around the world watching you, and you came up to come and clarify. That's a good thing. The former President Taylor used to say to say I'm sorry is an expression of the heart, not feeling too proud and big to say I'm sorry, forgive me. These are things he said, and I agree with that. So I want to commend Dr. Tenney for that, and also at least the matter have been settled, a little rest. We move on. On the issue about Cardinal Robert Francis Prevost, Pope Leo, I think the 13th, right? Or the 14th? 13th, PPV?
14.
The 14th, yes. He preferred to be, and one thing in the Catholic stuff, whenever you have your real name, Robert Francis Prevost, but then you can change to so now he's you'll be called Pope Leo the 14th. He's an American. I listened to his speech today. I'm sorry the guy's not yet to put his picture up, but I hope they will come later on. But he gave a very good speech, very good acceptance speech. And regardless of the Catholic Church, they say the Catholic Church, the Pope is the moral leader of the world. So that's why the whole world was caught by attention today to listen to him and watch him live, which is something that we all hailed, and rather the Roman Catholic Church. But something that I think I told you earlier, we want to take care of you quickly. Today we had an issue about a fake doctor. Now this is the man who able to enter our system, and he entered our system, and what was this? Don't move it in now. Where put this? Guys, don't move that stuff. Okay, this guy called Peter George. You're not ready to me.
Oh, I just about to say.
Peter George. Not us. Yeah. Any part of our family won't do that kind of stuff. But Peter George was caught. Imagine the guy, he rose to the position of president of the Liberian Medical and Dental Association. And all the time he had been performing surgery and so forth. And he was caught after medically then raised the issue, and he got caught. Guy, we'll talk to the Pope later. We'll talk to the Pope later. We'll come back on later. They'll finish this thing. So, but today he was caught and he was asked to revoke his license. But today we have here joining us someone who says he also a victim of the way the Liberian Medical and Dental Association treated him. They ended in court. So he will come here briefly to come and share his experience too. And then maybe we can quiz him a little bit, because I remember he was in the news when he came to perform some work on the late injured Torgbean. So we want to bring Dr. Rockefeller C. Cooper. And I think I was told today that I think I'll focus on Liberia. The president of the Liberian Dental and Medical Association also accused him of being, we're comparing to the guy who they call Peter George. So Dr. Cooper is here tonight, and with the great panelists. We can see how. So let's see how best we can find out for him what's going on too, and what his concern is about. So Dr. Cooper, welcome to the closing argument.
Yes, thank you all, gentlemen, for having me. It's a pleasure being here, and I hope that we can all learn something after this brief segment.
So, Mr. Gimman,
yes,
that's the situation. Dr. Cooper is here. Dr. Cooper is concerned that he was invited to Liberia to perform some work on the late injured Torgbean. Then I think when somebody died again, he was invited again to Liberia and had a problem. But he will explain better. because maybe I'm missing it up. Maybe he can explain better.
Yeah,
The president of the Liberian Dental Association accused him. I think so. He's trying to come and make some clarification. So, Mr. Gimen, sorry.
If I may ask quickly before Gimen, who is Dr. Cooper? Is he a pathologist?
Well, he will ask a question. He will ask a question. He will ask him.
Okay.
Dr. Cooper, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Hopefully, you have a pleasant time here. We for those of us who don't know you, never met you before, could you introduce yourself? What is it you do, and where are you located, and all of that stuff? Introduce yourself to those who have never met you before.
Yeah, so thank you. So I'm Dr. Rockefeller F. Cooper II, a Liberian by nationality, and I currently reside in the southern part of the United States, and I currently work as a forensic medical legal death investigator.
Okay, and your schooling, your qualification?
Yes, so I'm a graduate of the Windsor University School of Medicine, where I obtained my MD as a medical degree back in 2014. I also then completed my studies in forensic science with a concentration in forensic death investigation at the University of Florida in Gainesville, Florida. And I also have postgraduate training out of the Society of Apothecaries out of London, UK. I'm a fellow with the International Association of Coroners and Medical Examiners. I'm also a member with the Society of Medical Legal Death Investigators and a host of other associations around the United States.
Yeah.
Can I ask my first question?
Yes, go ahead, sir.
Okay.
Go ahead.
The Rockefeller is again good to see you. I know you. The first time you went to Liberia, you want to do. I know there was some issue. People raised money on Facebook, on social media for you to go to do a job in Liberia. But then when you went to Liberia, I think the Liberian Medical Dental Association, they requested they couldn't give you a license or whatever the case. They had some problem with you. So can you just bring us to see what happened?
Yeah, so this was in 2019. I was contacted to do a forensic post-mortem exam on the late Odell Sherman. Now, let me make something clear. Now, it's not the Liberian Medical and Dental Association. That is a different group. It's the Liberian Medical and Dental Council.
Okay.
Yeah, just so so there's some clarification here. So, okay, so moving on. So when I got to Liberia, shockingly, I was told to report to the to JFK to have a meeting with the pathologist that was on staff the following morning, and the issue of medical license to practice in Liberia came about. So after going back and forth, basically, I could not do the forensic exam because, one, I had finished my medical schooling, but after completing, because I was still financially indebted to my school, they only gave me a letter of I can't think of the name of it, but anyway, until I had met my obligations, then they were going to release my actual diploma. But all of my credentials from my graduate studies in forensics were presented. So they still fell back on the issue of license to practice in Liberia, which from a forensic death investigation standpoint, death investigators are not even required to be medical doctors. That's one. And also medical doctors are not required to be forensic death investigators. So you had two separate issues that were being mixed up, leading to a series of confusions. And so someone else came and did the post-mortem exam on the late Odell Sherman. So that was that as far as that case was concerned.
I'm done.
Yeah, Mr. Pewee. You are muted.
I want to take it from this. I just want you to tell us the difference between this medical, he said forensic medical death investigator, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the difference between forensic medical death investigator and the full-fledged pathologist.
Okay, so they are both full-fledged careers.
Okay.
A pathologist is a person who studies diseases, and part of their scope of operation is, and it depends how far they go. It can range anywhere from doing analysis on blood, which would be like a hemopathologist, or to a clinical pathologist where you're looking at specimens, or that pathologist can go a step further and become a forensic pathologist, to where not only will he be able to conduct forensic post-mortem exams, but he will also be able to make clinical diagnosis under the microscope. And that's what we refer to as histopathology. Then you now have your forensic medical legal death investigator. This is a person who is not a pathologist. They do work in conjunction with pathologists, and what they do is they will perform a forensic post-mortem exam on a decedent, as in a deceased person, and if the need be for there to be any clinical analysis made on tissue sample, then those samples will be sent to a clinical pathologist to make the diagnosis through histopathological means. And when I say if necessary is because, for example, if you look in Liberia, every dead body that is found near a body of water is not an equation to drowning. Okay, but you must know the ins and outs, as far as being able to establish the cause and manner of death. So if the country or that jurisdiction is only interested in cause of death, then that's one thing. Whether you say, well, no, this was drowning death, or there was some other foul play. A person could be strangled to death and then thrown into the river, the creek, wherever it is. Okay, so at that point in time, we're not going to do histopathology. If we need to establish not only cause but manner of death, then we have to take things a step further. Same way if a person was found unresponsive the next morning. Okay, you do the forensic exam. If there's nothing that is grossly appreciated, meaning by the naked eye, then tissue samples will be sent to the pathologist, so that the microscopic analysis will be done. Okay, and this also has to do with toxicology studies as well. So that would be your difference between a forensic medical legal death investigator and your pathologist.
Okay, thank you. And my last question quickly, let me just take you and just seek your thought on this one. Our country is having the challenge, and I listened to a very wonderful, as President Trump would say, beautiful CV you push on the. You've been in and out of the country, and that's the forensic legal death investigator or pathologist. Do we have a competent, in your thinking? I'm excluding you from there. Back in the country, do we have a competent forensic legal death investigator that you know of in Liberia?
No.
And the same will also go. Do we also, because we've been having this challenge time to time about always bringing in pathologists and this kind of forensic investigator back in the country and all those things. What is your own thought and advice to the current government such the way to remedy this so we can have our own republic?
So here's the thing. The first mistake that has been made in post-war Liberia is to assume that any pathologist can conduct an autopsy. Now, you must understand that there are two types of autopsies that are basically performed. You have a clinical or hospital-based autopsy, which is a non-forensic autopsy. And then you have an actual forensic autopsy, which is done to establish cause and manner of death, because there's going to be legal recourse. Now, the clinical autopsy can be performed by a pathologist who is non-forensic based, because it could be for teaching moments in the hospital. It could also be for research purposes. It could be done to help the family have closure. It could be done also for medical studies. Maybe the person had a disease or so, and so the family can go and get, and get checked. It may be something that affects males in the family or females. Then if it's the men or women in the family. Your forensic autopsy, you need to have someone, and in fact, forensic autopsies, let me put it this way, are performed not only by forensic pathologists, but by doctors who have been trained in forensic medicine. And so, they're able to establish cause and manner of death. For me personally, so I run my own autopsy service. I do work with different pathologists around the country, okay? Anywhere from medical research. So with cancer patients, I sometimes have to retrieve brain and spinal cord for, cancer research. I have to sometimes working with lawyers, okay? Elderly people that die from mesothelioma, which is cancer of the lungs. I have to retrieve the lungs so that it will be processed to actually establish the disease. And then based on the report from the pathologist, the lawyer will now be able to justify that this claim needs to be paid. And then, of course, I do a lot of I do consultation on criminal cases. I do post-mortem exams on cases where the coroner has did not see it necessary to have the body rendered to the medical examiner office. Okay. I also do second post-mortem exams on bodies that have already been autopsied. So, it's a system. But unfortunately, in Liberia, death investigation does not exist. And I can tell you that right now, it does not exist, as in having the fundamentals in place to ensure the existence of death investigation.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Sanvee, I don't know if you follow the case with Dr. Rockefeller and the Liberian government, or the folks in the case with Ms. Cooper. Have you followed any question? Any question from Dr. Rockefeller?
Yeah, first of all, let me thank the young doctor for coming on set. A lot of clarifications he's making here. I appreciate that. Dr. Cooper, I believe you came on here because of the current case in the media, which is the former president of the Liberia Medical Dental Association. When you came on, you quickly made a clarification between the council and the association. How are the two related, and what part did this gentleman, Matthew Peters, have to play in your attempt to help with the Odell Shamo case in Liberia?
Okay, so let's clarify. So the Liberian Medical and Dental Council is responsible for credentialing doctors to practice medicine in Liberia, in addition to specialists who will also come into the country, as well as, I want to believe, physician assistants as well, and dentists. And so that's that. The Medical and Dental Association, I believe, is just an association of doctors within the country, from what I've learned over the years. So one has to do with credentialing, the other one does not, so to speak. And so, of course, you have members of the, by default, members of the council, because all doctors there are part of the association. So yes, so now I believe I understood you correctly. So please correct me if I'm wrong. Something about this doctor that's in the media that's been talked about today.
Yes, I was wondering if there's anything you had to your denial of service in the case of Odell Shamo.
No. There was my first time hearing about this gentleman today.
Okay.
Okay, Doc,
And quickly, before you can move on, sorry.
Yes.
What was the outcome of the Odell Sherman case that you went on? Can you briefly,
Well, yes. So,
tell us the outcome of that?
well, the case, the case basically was a flop. Someone else came and did the, did the exam, and he, basically he agreed with the government that the young lady has sustained a fall. Here's the problem with that case. My being involved in death investigations in Liberia is not something that started, 1 or 2 years back. So people in places know who I am, and they know and appreciate my capabilities. When this young lady was in the hospital, Odell Sherman, okay, during her last moments of life, I had received critical findings, okay, including her pictures of the body as she was being transported to the morgue. So in the interest of peace, my goal was not to accuse anyone, because that would be something for the police to do. Though, I mean, I do criminal investigations as well. But in terms of death investigation, my goal was to lay out the facts. But unfortunately, people did all that they could to ensure that process didn't come to pass, because for one, I refuse to be a part of backroom deals. I'm a person of integrity, and so I am. Besides that, I don't get myself involved with innocent blood. So those were issues that were going on during the dark hours of Liberia, and then when daybreak, you hear all kinds of claims on the radio. Secondly, I refuse to do the autopsy with the young lady along with the Liberian pathologist, because I feel in my mind they were not competent enough to have done it. And what would have happened is, afterwards, the wrong story could have been given and I would have been made a part of it. So as a result, I didn't get to do it, and the government at the time did what they thought was best.
But did you suspect any foul play in that process?
Well, in all true honesty, there were a lot of questions.
Did you suspect foul play as a professional forensic death legal investigator and investigator, and also a potential criminal investigator? Also, did you suspect any foul play? I'm not asking you to call names here, Dr. Cooper. I'm just saying to you professionally, as a professional person, did you suspect any foul play concerning the demise of that young lady?
Yes, between the transport of the body to the morgue and what were reviewed, as in photographs of the body that that were sent to me. Yes, I was quite suspicious.
Okay.
Doc, I have something here from Dr. Andrews. Dr. Andrews outlined. First, let me ask. To do your kind of work, an autopsy in a country like Liberia, do you have to be permitted? Do you have to be licensed? Do you have to obtain a permit from the government or from the medical institution in Liberia?
Okay, good. So I took the LMDC to court 2024, and we were there. The records are all there as well. We were in court for 6 weeks.
No, excuse me. The question here is, to do work in Liberia, does it require licensing or permit?
Death investigation does not require.
No, I'm saying in Liberia.
But that's what I'm saying, in Liberia. You asked about Liberia, right? And that's what I'm about to answer you. Can you hear me? Or
yes.
Are we having a lag?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. So death investigation, as far as where we are now, does not require you to have a license. And that has already been proffered by a court, as in the case Rockefeller F. Cooper II versus Liberia Medical and Dental Council. So with that being said, you see, here is the problem, Mr. Gaiman. The LMDC knew in 2019 that back in 2010, there was nothing in the guidelines established for death investigation. Okay? All along, when somebody died in the country, and there's noise, to add based on sentimental value, a pathologist come. Whether the person is non-forensically trained or forensically trained, it didn't matter. It was just to create a hush-hush moment. So a pathologist has, is brought in. And that is wrong. Because even here in the US, I testify against pathologists in different, so many different cases. And these are people who are certified, people who I'm in organizations with. But if you don't have, the requisite training, it is easy to make mistakes. Or even if you're not careful, you make mistake as a person, you see? And this is the mistake that has been going on. 2019, the medical council told me that, okay, once I have secured physical copies of my credentials, my diploma and transcript, they will now be willing to give me a medical license because after reviewing my credentials, the country needs what I have to provide. But then here is the problem. I testify against the pathologist in a case in Nima County involving a Joe Collier that the LMP said basically died, he died in police custody. And the pathologist, their findings were wrong. They capitalized on everything that was done during the embalming process to establish cause of death. And I testified by video, and at the end of the day, the government was held liable. Okay? So there's been that. So that is the elephant that's in the room that needs to be addressed. Just because I'm a Liberian, it does not mean that I'm going to agree with wrongful acts of other Liberians. Just because I have a degree in medicine, it does not mean that I must just coincide with other Liberians who also have a medical degree in a situation against other Liberians who are not. You see? So the medical council knew that the guidelines had nothing to do with death investigation. Instead of telling the Ministry of Justice at the time that death investigation is strictly under the Constitution of Liberia as it relates to Article 7, they started hauling and pulling. So when I received my credentials in which I sent them, and when you look at the court document, it reflects on May of 2021. I specifically asked for license to practice as a forensic medical legal death investigator. What they did was they went to go and consult with the two pathologists in the country so that they could decide my fate as to whether or not I should get licensed. Okay? Because why? They were pathologists. But the mistake here is, which I have challenged them on the radio, I've challenged them openly, face to face. They do not know the concepts of forensics, let alone forensic death investigation. And because of that, every single autopsy that they've done in the country has been questionable. Okay? So, because I refused to bow down and quote unquote to play ball, they started making things difficult. So I transitioned from us having an amicable discussion to seeking legal recourse, because now this is my fundamental and constitutional rights as a Liberian citizen. You see? So we went to court, and before then, during the production phase, the medical council could not produce anything that would show that they have a stance on forensics, as in forensic death investigation. They murdered the issue about me not doing that. They brought up the issue was that I didn't do internship, so because of that, I could not get licensed. Okay, internship is practical work. The internship is for 1 year. You want me to do 3 months in surgery, 3 months pediatrics, 3 months OBGYN, and 3 months in outpatient medicine or general medicine. After doing all of those, you are not qualified to do forensic death investigation, because if that's the case, then all of the doctors in Liberia will be qualified to do forensic death investigation. This should have been an issue where I'm strictly with Justice Ministry. Because you know what, if a doctor comes to Liberia and he decides to go to LU to teach general biology, then it is between him and the University of Liberia undergraduate department. You are not going to raise an issue and say, oh, just because he has an MD, he must show his license. If he wants to go into academia, then that is his choice. So we went through the legal argument, and at the end of the day, the judge ruled that when I do internship, then basically I'm entitled to license in Liberia. As far as what and the documents are there, okay. As far as what I apply for death forensic medical legal death investigation, I do not need license from LMDC, because doing production, you see, as an investigator, I also know how to retrieve the facts. And I know that there's a subject matter that there's nobody in Liberia, there's no entity in Liberia that has a better grasp on forensics than I do. So we had them to respond in writing, and they admitted that they did not have anybody on the council with forensic medicine background or even a forensic pathologist. So that's how the case went to court. But what was disturbing is the fact that she had the audacity, as in Dr. Benetta Collins Andrews, to try to link me with someone who basically his entire medical career has been questioned. Those are two different issues. I applied for a specific license, you see, and it's yes.
Dr. Cooper, did you know Dr. Edward Grant?
Dr. Edward Grant? The name sounds familiar.
Because he was a professional in the area. I think he was a pathologist. Anyway, I thought you may have come across him, because my question is basically you are saying, and this is really serious, that as at the time, say 2019 up to now, we may not have had a qualified, forensic or pathologist on the council, the whole country, and this is concerning. And because, as you are also asserting, a lot of cases here have been decided based on the findings of these people. And I'd like you to talk to us a little bit. First of all, what became of the collect case that you testified against the government about, and where is your case that you took to court for denying you service during the Odell Shema case? What happened to those two cases?
No, so the Joe Collect case, I testified on behalf of I served as an expert witness on behalf of a human rights group that's called Ford. Okay, and basically the government of Liberia was held liable because LMP, of course, is under the government. So they were held liable, and the case, I believe, went to the Supreme Court, but I didn't follow because my task was to expose the flaw. That was, yes. Okay. So, and then as far as Odell Shema, we didn't go to court for that. I left because all of this unfolded when I got to Liberia, and the Justice Ministry was aware that forensic death investigation is not only done by a pathologist, because first of all, death investigation is a whole umbrella, and then you got these different key players. But it was basically, it was an attempt to suppress the facts. And so the medical council, and that's the most annoying part, the medical council yesterday allowed itself to be used as, a puppet. Today, you hear the agenda that they are now pushing. So then the issue that comes to play is what's the standard? So that was that. But the only time we went to court was when I had to sue them because they were not being honest. And so basically, as a Liberian citizen, I'm entitled, to legal recourse within our courts.
So what was the outcome of that case?
The outcome of the case was there were two outcomes. If I complete internship, the medical council must give me license. As far as applying for licensure to do death investigation in Liberia, the LMDC does not have to give me license to do that. It is in writing and signed by the judge.
Okay, good.
But can I come in quickly?
George, go ahead.
Yeah. Dr. Cooper, I know today the president of the Liberian, I think, Medical and Dental Association, right?
Yes.
Yes. I think she compared you to this fake doctor
Yes, yes. Okay,
Okay.
so but let's get it correct now, because I think there's also a female acting president now, so for the Medical and Dental Association, who is Dr. Superwood. It
Yes.
is not the association; it is the council.
So yeah,
Okay,
but,
the
so
council
today,
that yes,
who
it
are
was done by the
unfocused on
council.
Liberia who are unfocused on Liberia that
Yes.
accused
That was Dr. Benetta Collins Andrews,
and she's
with the council.
She questioning your credentials. She questioning that because she compare you to the doctor
Yes.
in question.
Yes, so basically, she was trying to gain grounds and momentum to say that the council is working to where I sued them and lost. I did not, which is a misrepresentation. I did not just sue the medical council. I sued them because, one, they were infringing on my rights as a citizen of Liberia. Okay. So that's why we went to court. And when this saga started in 2019, she was nowhere around. The position is rotational. When she came in, instead of gathering the facts, she didn't do it. She decided to just play ball along with what her predecessors were doing. And so that's why we had to go to court. Can you imagine? For 2 years, the Liberia Medical and Dental Council could not verify my credentials, but yet you hear her boast all the time that from her cell phone, she can basically, just click a button or stroke a key, and she'll be able to verify. 2 years they could not. But what I did to set precedence, I try to keep it neutral. I have my credentials available. Evaluated by the Medical Council of Canada, and they did it clear cut. There were no issues. But 2 years they could not. Every time they were stalling because listen, here's the thing, Tomalin. I am a threat to the pathologists in Liberia. That is why if you go online, you Google my name, Dr. Rockefeller Cooper and Shalom Musu, okay, the case involving the late Shalom Musu with Gloria Scott. All the documents are there. And at the end of the day, and I made it a personal vendetta to ensure that they did not succeed in that case because the motive was not clear. And the Supreme Court basically was made aware of findings that I presented to the legal team of Councilor Scott. And at the end of the day, they were set free. You see, forensic death investigation is no fly-by-night issue.
Absolutely.
You see, you can't just wake up. Yes.
Dr. Cooper, let me read this here. The reason for your denial, it says here, as outlined in our license categories, stating that a general practitioner must complete medical school and internship.
Correct.
While a specialist undergoes a 3-year additional residency program. The importance of obtaining relevant documents such as U.S. licenses, residency training, diploma, internship certificates, and all of that are all part and parcel of the permit process. Did you, by any chance, where did you do your internship? Where did you get all your licenses in the United States that were required?
Okay, so here is the thing. One, I made it clear that I did not do internship. And the reason why all of that came about, why I applied for license, is because Liberia in 2019 did not understand the concept of death investigation. Forensic death investigation or a forensic death investigator does not have to be a medical doctor. That's one. For the first time on the global stage, Liberia is the only country that decided that it should have been the other way around. So what happened was when I was able to secure my diploma, I now took advantage of the verbal agreement that was made between the medical council and I. When I went to Liberia for Odell Sherman case, my goal was to not even go to JFK. Nonetheless, I was sick. Okay, so from the get-go, I should not even be having an issue or a discussion with LMDC of any form. They were the ones that interjected and said that when you get your diploma and transcript, we will now give you license. So Trying to handle it amicably, they started bringing in more requirements. And that's the reason why. Besides that, Mr. Gaiman, yes, if I'm interested in general medicine, then sure, I would do an internship, which then would qualify me to get licensed. But let's assume even if I did an internship, that does not qualify me. Let's assume that I don't have training in forensic medicine. That does not qualify me to do death investigation. Because like I said, if that is the case, then all the doctors in Liberia will be qualified to do death investigation. And I doubt if you have one single doctor that will be agreeing with you apart from the pathologists that are there. Okay? Practical wise, and the issue I raised with them was, I worked and trained at medical examiner offices around the United States where I worked as, forensic pathologist specialists, autopsy technicians, and all of those combined together, my practical experience is over a year. So why can't that be established as practical experience or considered as an internship, given the fact it is my choice? I decided to go into forensic medicine. Okay, so why can that be considered if we must go down the route? But the problem here is that when my application clearly states forensic medical legal death investigator, what did the medical council do? They interpreted my application as being applying for license to work as a pathologist. It was made clear to them through my legal counsel that those are two different fields apart from verbal conversations. So the problem here is that the medical council did not have an understanding of my application. That's the first fundamental issue. They felt because the concept in Liberia is once you are, only a pathologist can examine a dead body, which is not true. And that is the very same reason why every autopsy that has been done in Liberia by Liberians have been questioned. So that is the reason. Yes, I agree. You must do an internship. But we had a verbal discussion before. Remember, this is starting back from 2019. When they decided to change, that's when I decided to take legal recourse. So I can no way be compared with this Dr. Matthew, Peter Matthew. So because those are two different things. And even in their testimony in court, when the judge ruling that it clearly stated that they do not have, even though they fail to present any form of verification of my credentials, the judge made it clear that the medical council does not challenge my credentials. Okay, so they are having credential issues. I believe they said that this gentleman were calling institutions that could not recall, even his ID number. Mine is not the case. That's why I went ahead and I did several posts today, including, even another international body that did verification, and I can be verified anytime with my ID number through the ECFMG, which is the Education Commission for Foreign Medical Graduates. So, that's just so that people will have an insight and clarity. The Medical and Dental Council does not have any guidelines regarding death investigation or even forensic death investigation. The only thing is, yes, go ahead.
Dr. Rockefeller, what is your specialist? What is your specialization? Are you a pathologist? Are you a death investigator? Are you what is your specialty?
I am a forensic medical legal death investigator. So to understand if you want, since you asked, because I believe I addressed that earlier for Mr. Pewee, but it just
you did, and you did very eloquently.
Yeah, so let me say that again. So what it is, I work in conjunction with pathologists. Okay. So what I do is I do a forensic exam. I submit my findings along with tissue samples to a clinical pathologist so they can make the clinical diagnosis microscopically. Because it would be unethical for me to make clinical diagnosis by looking at a specimen under the microscope. So that's how we come together. For you to have a clear understanding of this, it's like you go to the eye clinic. You have your ophthalmologist and you have your optometrist. The ophthalmologist cannot tell you the type of lens that you will need to use. You have to go next door and see the optometrist. The same way, the optometrist can also not tell you to come and lay on the surgical table so that he can repair your cataract. You see, but the two work together. But the problem in Liberia is that people are not exposed, and instead of trying to learn, we always try. You see, it's this concept of let's pull him down. I call it the PhD syndrome. Let's take time to learn. Why is it that I will be working here in the United States for over 5 years now, and I have not, no one has taken me to court? In fact, I go to court to actually testify on behalf of, in conjunction with pathologists. So what is, does Liberia have its own standards?
Doc, one question. Now that you have to work in conjunction with a pathologist.
Yes.
Or which pathologist in Liberia you are going to be working with on that particular case? Since you said there are no trained licensed pathologists in Liberia.
Yes. So if I'm working in Liberia as a consultant, just like I do from here in the United States, as you're aware, the United States is a continent by itself. The samples are flown out to a pathologist, and then clinical diagnoses are made. You see? So because, it's a system. And now also, like when I was responding to Mr. Pewee, I said that clinical diagnosis microscopically can be done if the need be. So for example, if a person, if a person was strangled to death, instead of me going and saying that the person died from tuberculosis, I must be able to now to identify, I must be able to present findings, you see, to show what caused the death. And imagine if that person that was strangled to death, let's say that person was a cancer patient and the doctor gave them 7 more months to die. So now we're in the month of May. So that means the person, we expect them to die in December. Okay, and the person had liver cancer. Now the person was strangled to death today on May 8th. Is it going to be fair to say that the cancer killed the patient, or you want to show the forensic fact that no, someone broke into this lady's house and strangled her to death? You see the issue? So even though she had liver cancer, but that's not what caused her death. You see? So the problem here is people don't understand how these things work, and they fail to even do their own background check. You see? But involving my case, when I took the stand to testify, I strongly believe that the judge, in her clinical wisdom, was able to decipher between and then came up with the ruling that she did. So this means that if I do internship in Liberia, which I would do because of my constitutional rights, I'm to get general license. Okay? But as far as death investigation is concerned, licensure is not forensic medical legal death investigators. Licensure is not, is not required.
Thank you.
To be provided by the LMDC.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Guys, I know the doctor was here briefly.
Yeah, just quick question from me, Jerome. Thank you very much. Dr. Cooper,
yes,
I understand you're not based in Liberia, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Would you care to kind of surmise as to what sprung this Dr. Matthew Peters case? Because apparently this guy has been practicing in Liberia for quite a while. How did this case come? What is going on here? What do you think is happening?
Well, there could be so many different things. As an investigator, it won't be fair for me to preempt. We need all of the facts, because this can actually be basically concluded to be a criminal matter. Okay, so how did he get licensure? Now, here's one of my concerns. During the testimony provided by Dr. Collins Andrews today, she said that this gentleman presented a document at some point in time where he did fellowship. Well, people would do fellowship after medical school. It's something that you do postgraduate wise. It is not something that is done just, where you just do in isolation. Okay. So there will be things that, if it becomes a legal issue, depending on the situation at hand, they will have to, to sort it out. But generally speaking, if you were to look at it, how did he get, licensure? Who reviewed his documents? Okay. He has been working for some years. That means he has been getting a salary. I mean, who did background checks to see what was going on. Now, if you were performing surgery, what was the standard of surgery being performed? Did people complain? Were there issues? Okay, did he have a high success rate in surgeries being performed? You know, because these are things that we must look at, because one will ask himself, if I'm not accustomed to doing something, a particular aspect of medical practice, will I be comfortable doing this? So why was he comfortable performing the actions that he carried out?
Right.
So these will be things that they will have will have to look at. You have the same thing going on. I'm
thank
sorry?
you. Yeah, no, I was going to say thank you. I thought you were Linda. I was going to say thank you. It's just concerning that they give you such a hard time just for coming to do a forensic, investigation, and yet we have people in Liberia practicing for years. I mean, this is not the first case. In the past month or so, I think there was another gentleman who was operating as a doctor in another hospital, I think, and somebody died. And I think this guy was on the run. I don't even know where that case is. So it sounds to me like they were being very, very strict in allowing you to come in, and yet they seem to have been relaxed on the other hand. And I'm just wondering, maybe this is because you've been taking it to court back and forth. I don't know. But before I give it, let me thank Stephen Collins here for the correction. Dr. Grant, he said was a psychiatrist. I agree. I know that. He was also a lawyer, and I think he was also a pathologist. But I will give it to you, Stephen. Thank you, Dr.
Let me ask, I guess, okay. Dr. Cooper.
Yes, sir.
I'm getting information from the council, right? They're saying that they requested you to give your USA practicing license as a forensic pathologist.
Okay.
Okay. They say you don't have it. Okay.
Okay.
But, so they are saying also that you applied to get licensed as a forensic pathologist, but did not give any supporting documents to substantiate the claim except a letter of recommendation from a pathologist you currently work with in the U.S.
Okay, let me respond to that so we don't make it winded.
Okay.
So Tomalin, here's the thing. My application form, I never apply. It's in writing. I posted this on my Facebook page as well. You can look at. I believe I sent you I shared it with you. If you look at my application, nothing on there says I'm applying to work as a pathologist. Why would I claim to work as a pathologist in Liberia when I'm not a pathologist in the United States? This was something that we went over verbally to explain a million times. What they did was, you see, they were so adamant on protecting Dr. Benedict Coley and Dr. Zobon Kpare because I've been critical of them. So because of that, the issue, because that's the argument that those two gentlemen have always proffered. But you're not a pathologist, how you know to criticize our work? And forensic exams are not done only by pathologists. I made them to understand this thing. I beat this horse, to death on so many different radio stations. You see? So, and I made a council to understand you're asking me for documents to support a position which I did not apply for. I tell you, say I want drive car. Then you say you want to send me to Asila. I'm gonna show proof that I drove a truck in the mines for Asila meter. Does it make sense? So that's what was going on. And like I said, at the end of the day, the court ruling is there. At the end of the day, if I do internship in Liberia, I must get internship anywhere or in Liberia. Then the council must give license. If it happens, but as far as for death investigation, I don't need license from the council. And that's why I told them back in 2019, I said this issue has to do with the Justice Ministry. The people are confused, or they were confused only because I have a medical degree.
So wait, excuse me. Let me get it clear. So they are saying that you applied, you did not apply to be as a forensic pathologist.
Look at my application. My application is there that I sent you. I never on there applied to be a pathologist. To be a pathologist, it means that I must have gone through residency to train in pathology. I even sent them documents from the National Association of Medical Examiners here in the United States, where death investigators have been separated from pathologists, pathologists separated from forensic pathologists, forensic pathologists also separated from forensic medical legal death investigators. But guess what? They fail to read the documents. They fail to also do their own background research. Like I said, during our production phase of during the legal saga, the LMDC did not present one document. You see, to say that, well, this is what we found on you. On my page, very well again, you will see the medical counsel just in the span of 1 month, and I just used them just to prove a point. A neutral body. So it would not be like, well, you're in the United States, so you have someone to do it for you. A medical counsel of Canada verified the same credentials that are sent to the LMDC. In fact, they had less. You see, in Liberia, there's no one that understands the concept of forensic death investigation on my level. Other countries will say, okay, let's see how we can work together and form a team. Even if you feel that I'm being critical on your pathologist, you must understand that, one, I'm a Liberian. If I'm to keep short today, tomorrow, what is to happen if if the wrongful pronouncement is made from a post-mortem investigation standpoint involving a pathologist, and it happened to be one of my family members? That's when people now will say, but you were here all along, this was happening, never complain. Why you want to complain now? That affects my credibility. So because of that, the court has now ruled. Now, what this means now is, down the road, there's no more regime that will be able to use the LMDC to suppress me in terms of, being on the radio talking about death cases where somebody will call and try to just have been denigrated and to make what I refer to as empty noise. Because now we have a court ruling, and they testify that they don't have anybody with a forensic background on their counsel. So forensic medicine is dead. That is the reason why I went into forensics, because I saw this as being, a shortfall for the country. So I made sacrifices and I paid my dues over the years. You see, I'm not asking, I'm glad, even though you were misinformed, but I'm also glad that they did not say that I tried to be, I applied for license to work as a pediatrician or an ops and gyne specialist or even a surgeon. This has strictly to do with death investigation. And the bylaw say from page 1 to the back of the book, nothing is there about death investigation. A fact that they knew and they suppressed simply because they did not want the facts to be reviewed. And then when it was time to go to court now, that's when that information, they had no choice but to present the guidelines. This was strictly a matter with justice. There's no rule that says that a person with a medical degree cannot work with a justice ministry or a department of justice. You see? So that's where it is. So yes, I did not do an internship, which the argument they should have brought was that the LMDC can only give a license to people who have done internship back in 2019. Number two, when it comes to death investigation, we do not have this under our scope of operation. This is strictly a coroner issue because it is there by law. You see? But instead, I was being given the runaround. I produced documents upon documents. They kept asking me to show proof that for over 2 years, they kept asking me to show proof that I work as a pathologist. Okay, if the medical council claimed to have connection with some group called EPIC or with other institutions, why is it that they could not simply then do a background check on me? You mean to tell me that that one medical council in another country will verify a particular set of documents and tell me that I've been verified? Then you come to Liberia for 2 years, something that one agency took 2 months to less than 2 months to do. Another, the Liberian Medical and Dental Council for over 2 years could not verify. You got the documents, all you got to do is to send it electronically. You're not mailing it. You see, so these were the situations that were going on. So I never ever, and the records are there. My application form does not say, why would I apply for not even a pathologist but a forensic pathologist when I know that I'm not? My website clearly states that I'm a forensic medical legal death investigator.
So let me ask you quickly, right? So
yes,
do you have a practicing license in the USA for what you say you do?
Death investigation, even here in the United States, does not require licensure. The problem is that they keep mixing death investigator with a pathologist. Those are two different things. Because guess what? If I had the license, and yes, the next issue.
Dr. Kuba, let me hold you on that before you continue, please. It's important that the question my comrade just asked, my colleague just asked, and you talk about lesson. I thought, because here in the US, it's all about basically the guy's standard, the guy rule-based standard.
That is true.
Why will you be a certified legal forensic death investigator and you are not licensed to do that? Why if I purport myself, if I Sylvester Pewee just came on and go inside, I'm a certified forensic death investigator and endorse into those things. How do I, on what basis will I be giving contract? Because you say you work with a lot of other institutions and other things. On what basis are you giving contract to work with those people?
Yes. So the reason why licensure is not required is because coroners, coroners are not required to be licensed in any form. Mr. John Brown, who is the barber, in Johnsonville, can run for the position of coroner, whereas you got a nurse, you got a PA, and you.
But to be a coroner, I stand to be correct here. To be a coroner, you have to be certified by a recognized institution. Is that correct?
No, that is not correct.
Dr. Cooper.
Yeah, but give me 1 minute.
Wait, I got three.
No, 1 minute. Dr. Cooper, 1 minute, 1 minute. I got something here from the American Board of Medical Death Investigation, ABMDI.
Yes.
And it says here, no, there are generally no formal licensing requirement to become a death investigator or medical death investigator.
You see that?
Okay, I was concerned.
Okay.
No, that's what I'm
the
saying.
American Board of
yes, correct.
So the council is saying that they say if the medical board didn't license you to practice in the USA, why did you expect the LMDC to license you?
Let me answer the question. Yeah. So Mr. Gaiman just read that there's no licensure that's required for death investigators in the great United States. The reason why I applied for licensure with LMDC is because in 2019, 2 years prior to them receiving my application, they told me that once I submitted my diploma and transcript, that I would get licensed because of the issue that was raised by the Guar administration back then. When I went to Liberia, my goal was to deal strictly with Musa Dean, and that was it, and Patrick Suru. But I got there, and then they brought the whole thing about medical counsel. Because also remember this now, if you were to even erase, if it was erasable, if you were able to erase my MD that I never even applied to medical school before, I would still be able to work as a death investigator. The reason why I did both is because I need the complementation. For example, my scope of operation, I go to scenes and I go to post-mortem table. So if I go to a crime scene and you tell me that from the blood stain and pattern, and I look at the body, I could easily tell you that the body that you brought here is not the body from that scene. That means somebody is trying to cover something up. So I can operate from the scene to the post-mortem table. You see? Now, that was my choice. My going to medical school was my choice. I didn't go to medical school because of how other people will see my operation. I was working on my PhD in public health as well, and I left it. I went to Liberia. I remember when we took off. I sat back. I said when I was going to change, and I dropped out of my program and went deep into forensics. So Mr. Gaiman just read. Okay, so now you look at the country like Liberia. You don't. So now basically this means that I can work in the private sector because a court has ruled, and I will continue to expose wrongful autopsies that are being conducted. I've already set the precedents involving the Shalom Musu case, and there will be more. You see?
Yeah, that couple impressive, and I think this is very interactive. It's great for the issue. And remember, we're not trying to undermine your credibility, but we're trying.
No.
Yeah, and trying to let me make this
No.
moving forward. We're trying to allow the follower listeners, both radio and Facebook,
Of course,
to understand some of these things and the complication, the complexity, right? Because sometimes these are very convoluted situations that we need very detailed explanation.
that is true.
Yeah, back before I can say this, I wanted to say something quickly. Let me ask it first, and then Gaben will come back.
Okay.
Let me say it, then I will ask the question. It's unfortunate in Liberia, and sometimes that's my problem, Gaben. Liberian professionals, even these are areas that we shouldn't politicize. These are areas that many people love to politicize. And this is kind of a young man we have that's contributing towards the country. I thought the council should have welcomed him and sit with him and found a way forward to do this. But again, sometimes there is a fear that the people will say back in the country. Let me be honest to say this. Oh, when the guys, they think they'll come from America, they can't do this. Sometimes they kind of a fear and they politicize everything. Imagine it took many, many years to boot the guy or today to expose this guy. And this guy is with fictitious degree. But people that got requisite came from recognizable institutions and they'll try to politicize all this. And I think we have to graduate from some of those things and allow people. And again, there's a culture there in the country. They got certain people believe that certain institutions, they should just sit and they will manage who to give what to in the country. It's bad. That's what kept putting the country down. Imagine we don't have certified forensic legal death investigator in the country. We don't have people, so we need those councils need to sit down and talk to the government. How can we send professionals outside to train and to come back and help? How can we invite other professionals in the country to come be resident and help contribute to some of those things? But Dr. Kopa, quickly before the end here, ask this question: have you had what's going to be one of most of your signature investigation cases basically you carry out ever since you indulged into this thing? What's the major challenging and signature case that yourself can say this is what I'm proud of?
You mean what? Both
since you got involved into this practice, this forensic legal death investigation thing, in the US or anywhere.
Well, there are two cases, one here in the US and one in Liberia. So let me start with Liberia first. After the death of Princess Cooper, the young lady who was found dead behind the yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I saw the wrongful acts that were carried out, and I made a vow that whenever there's another case involving the Liberian pathologists who are performing forensic autopsies when they don't know how to actually perform forensic autopsies, I was going to do my utmost best to raise challenges and to have whatever decision reversed. So to make a long story short, you saw Councillor Scott and other relatives being sent to jail and then being released by the Supreme Court, and rightfully so, based on the actual forensic facts that were raised. So that's that. And then the next one here was it involved a 5-year-old that was murdered in her home. 5-year-old girl that was murdered in her home. And today, God worked along with the Defense Council. So today, we are seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. Okay. I can't go into details because the proceedings are still ongoing, but we are sure of an acquittal. So yes,
that's excellent. Thank you,
Doctor. Because I'm getting these things from the American Board of Medical Legal Death Investigator Commission. That is the top of the top here.
Yes.
If our government, if Liberia could say, listen, our medical school need to specialize so we can differentiate, because there are 4 different kinds of the area you are talking about: forensic pathology, legal death investigation, and all of that. If we could say, you know what, we need you to come and be part of the medical school, help us set it up, and then we can bring in folks to do the lesson show and all that. I think there's no reason why they are not going directly to the source, because here it says here for elaboration, there is no uniform requirement. There isn't a national standard in the United States for licensing death investigators. Each state And local jurisdiction has its own rules and requirements. There is no standard from the medical department or that. Why couldn't they just go to these simple? It's on their website. Is that why they would do this?
The reason is because there was an intent, and the intent was to suppress Rockefeller Cooper. Look, but let me tell you that, Mr. Gaiman, even from reading from the website, nowhere on there you will read that a death investigator is required to be a medical doctor.
No, it didn't.
So yes, so that tells you that I'm at a higher level, not because I'm saying it, but I work with investigators here. I present at seminars. I also train people in death investigation as well. You see, every year I'm into different programs for continuing education, dealing with people globally. But that was the intent. They could have gone to verify.
Yeah.
For 2 years. We're not saying that they had a month, for 2 years.
So which area is your PhD? Because I've seen the doctor name.
No. I'm an MD, medical doctor.
MD.
Medical doctor.
Sorry.
No. That's fine.
Which area is which area is the medical doctor? Which area is the forensic?
No.
Where do you have the MD in? What do you have?
No, you only get one MD, and that's when you go to medical school, you graduate, you get your
general
medicine.
General medicine.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah, and let me read this here. It says here to
go in the internet. I said PhD is MD. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. It says here, while a medical degree is not always required. You hear it from the stuff. Yeah. A medical degree is not always required. Many death investigators have some medical background, law enforcement experience, or relevant training. It does not require a medical degree, but he has, like you say, he has an MD. So it's all spelled out here on the medical board, a website, and their credential system is all laid out here. Yeah. So I don't know why they are.
No, that is how we do things in Liberia. You see, we try to suppress our own. Now, just imagine, I've been in the United States for over 25 years now. Death investigation has caused me to see more states than I ever did, be it whether it was for school or for leisure or pleasure. You see? So, and I work with other doctors. I work with other law enforcement agencies. I work with top investigators, people that are old enough to be my fathers and mothers. You think they will put their credentials on the line or their credibility on the line if they didn't know the truth? They think it's simple. Death investigation, it requires a team. Okay, and everybody has their role. But you got one pathologist who will go to scene and try to become DNA expert at the same time when he's not trained to do so. At the end of the day, then you don't have any credibility in court. And I can tell anybody for free, forensics is something that I hold so dearly, and I got it jealously.
That's fine. It had to be exact.
You see? Yes, you see?
At the Cooper. Yeah,
yes.
The contention. Yeah, the contention is saying. They're saying that you are an investigator, and they said you are an investigator, so you should have just gone to work with the Minister of Justice. They said we issue license to doctors, not investigators. Okay, they said because since you do not have a license, you're not issued license in America. Why you want to issue license in Liberia?
Let me address that.
That's what they are saying.
So let me address that so we'll go in bits and pieces so we don't lose the audience.
Yeah.
Now, Tomalin, you see why I talk about the mindset? If there's the we had Ebola outbreak in Liberia,
yeah,
and the WHO sent investigators, were those investigators not medical personnel? That question is rhetorical. That's just something for you to think about. To answer the question, it was never my intention to go to the LMDC to get licensure. When I landed, I received a call from the Ministry of Justice on that, I believe it was June 30th or so, that I should report to have a meeting with the pathologist the next morning at the LMDC, which of course we met in the office of around the morgue. Okay, and from there, during our discussion, they saw all of my credentials forensic wise. They told me that upon receiving my medical degree, that I will be entitled to getting licensed because they see my forensic credentials, and this is something that the country can benefit from. It's just that they cannot give me license in the absence of having my transcript or diploma. Okay? So it was based off that discussion, because this thing went on for about a month. It was based on that 2021, 2 years later, and you see in the application, even the code record goes to the 2021 application, okay? That they talk about how that you will see where I applied for license to work as a forensic medical legal death investigator. And it was even spelled out in a letter that I had to do to the council as well as to why I was applying for the license. You see? So because I'm using the term investigator, okay, for example, right now in Liberia, we have a serious issue with Burkitt's lymphoma, which is like it's cancer of the mouth. So if a surgeon in Liberia right now, or even a medical doctor decides to start investigating why we're having this new onset in the country, is the LNDC going to suspend that doctor or revoke that doctor license because he's now going into research, which makes him an investigator, quote unquote, an investigator? So let's not get into semantics, you see, because I can also go down to, I can justify and say a death investigator is a death investigator. A crime scene investigator is a death investigator. A forensic pathologist is also a death investigator. What are they doing? They are investigating death. You see?
So you have your forensic credentials, right?
I have my credential, yes. And here's the next thing that the LNDC failed to capitalize on. Because the question I will ask them here and tonight, Tomalin, is, what is the difference between licensure and certification? Because they receive copies of all of my different certificates. So that will be, then we'll get into semantics because I use the word investigator. And the reason why I'm actually a forensic medical examiner, the reason why I use forensic medical legal death investigator is because my scope of operation, I can go to the crime scene and I can establish a correlation between the crime scene and the body that is on the post-mortem table. You see? So, and this is something that I do all the time. So, generally the same way, like you have a journalist who likes to investigate, and that journalist is an investigative journalist. It doesn't mean that he's sitting down to the TV station, or because he's not sitting down to ELBC and on TV, so he's not qualified to be a journalist. You see?
They are challenging you to say you post your forensic credential. That's what they're challenging you.
They have it all. They have all of it.
They have it. Okay.
They have it. I emailed it to them. They in possession of it. My lawyer in possession of it. They got my copy of my degree from University of Florida. They got my ID card from the International Association of Coroners and Medical Examiner with my ID number on it. They got letters that were written to them from the Society of Apothecaries, where I did forensic medical sciences out of the UK. They got my certificate in depth investigation from the University of Florida also. They have it all. So this thing here, there's nothing secretive. And that's why I went to Liberia, so that we could go to court. Because my goal here, Tomalin, was for there to be two outcomes. Either the court was going to instruct them to give me license, or the court was going to basically create clarity so that they will not serve as a stumbling block for it to be understood that the medical council does not, handle death investigation. And all that you had done back in 2019 was to be honest with Justice Ministry and say, no, this, what this gentleman is coming to do is not something that we address in Liberia. But the perception was only pathologists does autopsy. The minute you're looking at the body, if that is the case, then it does not make sense. Because when somebody dies, guess what they call the coroner? The coroner may even have the coroner does not even have a bachelor's degree of any sort. You see, but that's the man who makes contact with the body first. So you mean to tell me that man is he's more qualified than I am? Is that what the council will be trying to say? Because that's how it is in Liberia by law under Article 7. Okay, and notwithstanding, to answer your question as to why I did not go to the Justice Ministry at first, back in 2021, I did an autopsy in Liberia for the coroner. It was a gentleman who died at LEC or Dukley, and they felt that he was beaten to death and electrocuted. I did it in the presence of the family representative and, of course, the coroner. And guess what? After that exam, there was no protest, there was no noise on the radio, and probably some of y'all just hearing about it because it was done properly and done with standard. So yes, why I didn't just go to the Justice Ministry, that question should be for the council.
And was there a foul play in that?
No, there was no foul play. Okay, he had pulmonary embolism. I'm sorry, come again.
Was that report published?
Well, no, it's not going to be like published for the public per se.
It was a private investigation.
No, not private. It was from the coroner of the Republic of Liberia. Yes, so they received the report. Now, then he will forward to the Justice Ministry. So the issue here, gentlemen, is that the system can work, but because we like to polarize and fight against one another, why would I want to abandon my lifestyle here in the United States for Liberia? Applying for license was so that when there's an issue, I will be able to give back to the Liberian society. You see,
were you charging the Liberian government were you charging some exorbitant fees?
I did not charge the government anything. In fact, I offered the government a peace deal that nobody would probably go to Liberia to do. Yes, what I told them. I will teach forensic medicine at the medical school. Yes, it will be a 1-year course.
The Dogati College.
Yes, I will also teach forensic science courses at the Doc Leotti School of Medicine, so that lawyers, law students, magistrates, and justice will all be able to attend if they so please, so that they will know how to handle murder cases. Because most time when you read the documents, all they do is to burden the document. Okay. Then I will also now train death investigators so that we will have investigators set up on a regional basis. Then we'll get more investigators trained. Then we'll get disseminated to the counties instead of taking somebody from Monrovia and sending it to Grand Gide. And then of course, one moment, and then of course, then I will do consultation for the government. Okay. You see?
Yeah, so I think this is important to me. I think we should take some time and have this, because these are important areas, and that's why when it comes to discuss these things, when there's a problem beginning north, boom, in the country will have to prepare for these things. Did you, Dr. Cooper, did you by any chance engage with the Liberian? Because one of the major things in it with the Liberian National Police, the reason why I'm bringing the police out now is that the police also is serious the challenge. The police got a forensic department that is very, what I want to put it here, is that
I'm fully aware of the department. I can tell you more about the department.
It's like a bulldog with actually no teeth in the mouth to bite. But they do have a forensic department. We do have a lot of forensic investigation going on in the country. But did you engage them, or did they engage you in terms of helping to at least also exclusively train their forensic team, or help anyway you could be a help to that institution?
No. I have not been engaged formally. I do have personal relationships with, individuals of the, homicide and forensic teams. Okay, I've had, many years. We are like friends, so to speak. So sometimes I would chime in with them on cases, and then, but of course, they are not the ones that can profit anything. I have expressed my interest, as far back as from the regime of Madame Sirleaf, you see. But like I said, this is the country that we have. We want to cherry pick and address issues. There's no reason why the entire Republic of Liberia does not have one death investigator, somebody that can sit down right now and you draw tests and give to them and say, okay, this test is taken by investigators all around the world. 10 questions, 10 for 1. Let's see where you score. You see? And it's not that they are incompetent. They don't have the support. The problem here is only Liberians can help Liberia move forward. I'm a Liberian. I'm not going to be in Liberia for 2 months and then I'm eager to run to come back because maybe I can't stand the mosquitoes or so. I'm a Liberian. You see? And I can easily adapt.
Yeah, adopted and non-Liberian.
Yes, but like I said, so now, but there's also opportunity in the private sector. So it should not just always be for government. In fact, death investigation in the private sector is now going to be more boostful because the people will have an alternative. You see? So, but of course, it's up to government to decide who they want to work with. But I can assure any regime
Let me ask you quickly, right? There were several deaths in the past, and people today people still get their own misconception theories about it. Okay, the Shalom Musu death. Well, I mean, I will actually just what the names you can just step by step later on. Shalom Musu death. Was there a foul play? The Batin Yinswa, the auditors, Gifty Lama, and the other and the other people. Were there foul plays on any of these deaths?
Okay, so let's start with the auditors.
Okay.
Gifted Lama Albert Peter, because I did a whole segment. If you go to Raman Christian Radio, that's with Gerald Cummings. The video is there. I did a whole breakdown. They were murdered and placed in the vehicle after a period of time and then transported. So I did a whole display on all the photographs. Okay, they did not die from no carbon monoxide poison.
The report from the Justice Minister on that
Now
case?
I'm saying yes.
I'm coming. Did you perform? Did you perform forensic on them?
No, I did not. I did not perform.
Then where the conclusion came from that they were murdered, put in the vehicle. I come that 1 minute. Let's take it from here. I just want to know, because for you to definitively, as a professional forensic investigator, investigator, to conclude definitively that they were murdered, these are false statements, placed in the vehicle and driven to the scene. Meaning one would have already perform some forensic investigation to come to that conclusion. Did you do that on those two individuals?
No, I did not do it. I did not do a post-mortem exam.
Then where the findings came from?
So that's what I'm coming to say. There's more that I saw about the case than most people in the public did. There's no way that I can tell you for a fact. Gifty Lama, you can see where that she was basically, her head was held in a body of water precisely on the beach because she was kicking in the sand while fighting for life. Okay, so and the pictures that you saw just on Broad Street that was just what most people saw. There were other photographs beyond that. Okay, so I can tell you, and I can openly challenge the concept of carbon monoxide poison. Again, as a death investigator, I know how a body presents if there's carbon monoxide death. So you see, you got to understand that we're talking about over 10 years of being involved in different kinds of cases. Yes.
Did you see the body of the both individual?
Well, I saw
the physical body.
No, I did not see the physical body, but the photographs. Here in the United States,
so can you run a determination from the photograph?
If you have collective photographs,
you pushing a point that requires us to go a little detail into it,
and we can go deeper because, like I said, I've seen more than most of you have.
So can I, as a certified forensic death investigator, just from footage, just from pictorial evidence, run a determination, a conclusive determination that can be used in a competent court of jurisdiction? Can that be used? Can that opinion be used in the court of jurisdiction from a photograph, not from a personal forensic examination by you?
Yes, it can, because it is also accepted worldwide that photographs can be used to determine is
that admissible?
Manner of death.
Is it admissible in court?
Yes, it is. Okay. Any death investigator will tell you any day, any time, that photographs can also be. In fact, if you don't have standardized photographs, and you see the photographs that were being taken, the ones who are taken, like I said, I've seen more photographs, regarding those two than most people have. Okay. So I can tell you, Gifted Lama was put into the vehicle first. Then Albert Peter was, his pants were pulled down. He was left in his boxer. He was put in. You see, the body undergoes changes as well. So even from their position, there's no way, as the concept was, they were love making the vehicle. The positions of the body contradicts that.
Okay. Doctor, 1 minute here. I'm still on the on the same website that gave you credibility, but it says here, while photographs can be valuable tools in determining the cause and manner of death, pathologists and trained people cannot determine death solely from a photograph.
And that's the reason why I asked the question quickly before you come in from my brother point. That's the reason why I went back, because we're talking legality here now, and we're talking forensic application. Right?
Yes.
So, and that's the reason why I said, can that be admissible in court? And if it can be admissible in court, can that process be accepted, and can one be convicted on the basis of that?
Okay, so yeah.
Let me extend here so you can answer. It says here, photos capture two-dimensional view of the body, which doesn't provide the depth of examination required to access internal injuries, examine the organs, and collect samples to determine depth.
That's the point. In terms of forensic. Yes, that's the point. You can go ahead, Dr. Cooper.
Yes. So you asked about admissibility in court, right?
Yes.
Okay. And establishing cause and manner of death is one thing. When there are telltale signs. Okay, let me ask you this. If you went to the police station right now and complained that I wasted water on you, you will agree that law enforcement will expect for your clothes to be wet, correct?
100%.
Okay, and I'm not trying to be condescending. I'm just trying to bring it down so that we can have a fair.
No. Hey, granted.
Okay.
And these kind of exchanges.
Okay. Yes.
Conversation.
Okay. So
but
now,
again, I come. Let me add up. I agree. My clothes should be wet, but again, due to the circumstances and the time interval.
No.
I agree. I'm going to.
Let's take it one step at a time. You went to the police station right now. Your house right near the police station.
Okay.
You went to the police station and you went to file a complaint that a Rockefeller Cooper wasted water on your clothes. The officer that you're talking to, of course, he's gonna look at your clothes. You expect your clothes to be wet, correct?
No. With that knowledge that you just brought that your house is just to the police station, that makes sense. But granted that you wasted water on me an hour ago.
Okay, I wasted on you an hour ago. There should be some kind of sign.
I expect my clothes to be wet through that process also. If it's during the soak of the heat.
Okay.
So we apply. So that would be some legal exchanges and
granted.
To that
but yes,
granted. That my clothes get dried before reaching to the police station.
Granted, but here's the thing: photograph that were taken of you at the time of your interaction with me, right, will either show you being dry or being wet. Because when the police asked me, I said no, but everything my interaction he and I were discussing about money that he owed me, and here's a video. And in the video, you are not wet, you're rather dry. You think the police will then believe your story?
No. Yeah, it's possible also in the same video. You may not even wait. I can take water and pour on myself and say, yeah, he wasted water on me.
Okay, yes. But then you see, but then if you do that, then it means that I've been exonerated. Because whilst you were with me, there's no sign of you being wet. You went and you wasted water on yourself, and then you went to the police station. That then exonerates me. You see?
Anyway, you can continue on that, but there's a possibility that sometimes the clothes got dry. But the physical, the point here I was trying to push while Gamer came in also on that, the issue about the pictorial evidence, meaning those pictures.
Yes.
You cannot hold it and solely rely on that to use in a competent court of jurisdiction. That's not
but doctor, it says here why photograph alone is insufficient. There it goes on to say a pathologist needs to physically examine the body to accept vital signs, determine the presence and extent of injuries, and collect tissues and fluid for laboratory analysis in all conjunction before a conclusion can be made. So if you have not done any of these things, it just doesn't look good for me to accept.
You know why?
There was an investigation done by pathologists on those. And listen,
you know what the problem is?
No.
In Liberia, now we know that people die from generator smoke, right? As we can put it, which is carbon monoxide poisoning. It's very common in Liberia, right? All of those bodies were not autopsied. Everybody have been dying from generator because the generator releases carbon monoxide.
Yeah,
the bodies are not being autopsied, but there are telltale signs that law enforcement have used to conclude that the death, was due to carbon monoxide poisoning. And if you disagree with that, then which means now that all of those cases that in the past that people been dying from carbon monoxide poisoning, excluding Albert Peters and Gaty Lama, should not be accepted as carbon monoxide poisoning because no autopsy was done.
No. Let me come in with that correction quickly before we move on. Now, for those people, the family didn't raise concern. The public didn't raise concern.
But it's not for the family to raise. It is for the state.
No, but doctor, the board here is saying you can make that when you physically examine the body. They are actually pointing
for you to come up with
physical
conclusion
examination.
examining the body. I think
Yes, but
that would be wrong.
That one, I think you were wrong. Because it's unacceptable here.
Yeah.
Why it is not sufficient to do that?
Because the Minister of Justice, before you come in, the Minister of Justice came up with a report on that, right? And that's one of the reasons, even people like me, because I believe in the science, and it's part of the reason why I'm endorsing all of what you.
Have you seen the autopsy report?
I'm coming. Yeah, I went through the autopsy report and I read it. I believe in the science. It's one of the reasons why I got a lot of respect for people like you that are directly going to study the science to help us, right?
Yes.
So if you that study the science would tell me that you would just run on a conclusion on the basis of pictorial evidence, then I'll be a little concerned and worried.
Okay, so let me tell you why you should not. Let me tell you why you should not be concerned.
No, but that
I will ask you a question.
You cannot contradict why the same board that gave you.
No, I'm not contradicting.
No, but the board that clear you later that we just celebrated you. The board is saying here's why a photograph alone is insufficient to draw a conclusion.
Yeah.
No, but I did not disagree with what you are saying. The question you asked was if the photographs are admissible. So we talk about whether they are admissible. I did not say at any point in time that you can only rely on photographs.
No. I come. You definitively and authoritatively said they were killed, put in a vehicle, and driven there.
You know why? You know why I said it?
I come on a minute. I push you a little further, and you said due to only the photo that you saw. Because I was concerned about that because what you just said to us run contrary to what the Ministry of Justice and what the pathology that conducted their autopsy.
But do you know why I said it? That's what I'm trying to explain to you.
Go ahead.
If you understood me, I'm sure I said this about twice. The photographs that a lot of people saw just with it on Broad Street, right? Were not the only photographs that I saw. So there were other detailed photographs that were not seen by the public that I relied on to say that no, this was a foul play case as opposed to carbon monoxide.
Can you further explain? Can you give some description of other photos that you saw?
It won't be ethical.
It's a report. No.
You said the photos. You said the photos. Let me explain to you.
I come in there.
Yes.
So was it ethical when you just said they were killed?
Okay. Let me explain. Let me explain to you in reverse.
Yes.
There were no telltale signs of the body, the unclothed body, that would be in support of carbon monoxide poisoning. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. If you inhale a toxic level of carbon monoxide, there will be telltale findings that we will see on the body. That way, you hear me say on the unclothed body, meaning that when their clothes were removed. Okay. So that was not fine. So automatically, first and foremost, we can rule out the bruising that was around Gifty Lama's neck. Carbon monoxide poisoning will not cause bruising to be around the neck. So, and then with the scene that was in the vehicle, the nose of her shoes that were wet and basically and sandy. Because if you hold a person, and furthermore, the fume that were coming from the nostrils, all of these, what we call the cone fume, all of these support drowning. So that's why I'm saying to you that I was trying to keep it superficial. But so that's why I'm saying to you that, and these are things that I can prove. Like I said, I did a whole presentation and I got all of the photographs.
Yeah, but yes, I would say before we conclude, then we'll move on. Yes, I would say I thought. For you, and I got a lot of respect for you. I got a lot of respect for you moving forward. I thought you would have said what I saw, other photos that I saw, other evidence I saw. From my perspective, I believe that they were allegedly. Right?
No.
So to come out and say definitively just on photo.
The reason why I'm saying definitively,
it's difficult for them to run with that.
Okay, let me tell you that. Yeah, you can. What I'm saying to you, what I'm saying to you is something that you can ask anyone in depth investigation.
But doctor, the medical board is saying here you cannot.
I'm agreeing.
Because even the depth investigation they would tell you photo evidence not enough.
The same board, the same board really verbatim.
Yes.
Let me just take us back with me, Doc, to Minneapolis when George Floyd got killed.
Yes.
you saw the forensic investigator that came for that process, right?
Yes.
When the forensic investigator came in during the cross-examination period, they were very descriptive and very detailed. Beyond the photo that was showing on the screen, they explained in terms of, there were some medical languages that I may not be inclined to understand.
No, I follow you.
As an intellectual and myself following the case closely, they were more detailed in coming to point and telling the jury and the judge.
That is correct.
Point why they believe.
Yes.
So this thing led to this, and they, as they explain in practice and what they perform, they will link it to the footage and the video whatsoever move forward. So
that
that's
is
a
correct.
classic example as to what Gaiman is reading just now.
Yes, and I fully agree with Gaiman. The issue here is, you see, the question you asked is what I'm answering. I don't know if for you or Gaiman on the issue of admissibility.
It was for me.
So let me take it a step further. The reason why the court has allowed photos to be admissible is because, as you are fully aware, in the United States, not everyone buries. Some people do cremate, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So, and what happens is this. When the coroner, for example, when the coroner sees like a person laid by themselves and they left the lantern on, you know, they got some of the heaters that use kerosene and whatnot, right? Okay. If that person dies and the coroner goes to the scene, the coroner, some jurisdiction, the coroner will sign out the body as in basically an accidental death due to carbon monoxide poisoning. Remember, I told you earlier, which of course you all did research and you found, a coroner does not have to be a medical personnel.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'm coming now. So now the coroner basically gave Mr. John Brown body to the family, but he took pictures of the body, and the family went and cremated the body. There was no autopsy done. Then 3 months later, the family of Mr. Brown decided that, it was his girlfriend who killed him with no evidence. And they went ahead and somebody killed the girlfriend. And now they got to go to court. They're going to go back from that case. The coroner will testify. The coroner will show, his pictures in court to say that, this is, these were the findings that I rely on to say that an autopsy was not warranted by the state or the county, and this was an accidental death. He left the heater on, from carbon monoxide poisoning, and he died. Because you see, the flip of that, Mr. Pewee, is you will now have the medical examiner offices throughout all these 50 states to be subjected to doing autopsy on every single body, and that they're going to oppose to. They will not agree. Because
that would be capital intensive.
Yes, you see, and besides, they're going to be labor intensive as well. You see, so that's why I'm saying to you that. But I guess the way I answer the question and with my in-depth, so I'm ahead of myself. That's why I'm saying that yes, photographs can be admissible, because you see in this case, like for example, a few days ago, a 38-year-old young man, his 19-year-old son got shot by the police. He was driving. What did he do? He struck and killed a sheriff. The police, he didn't do another police officer or the police that killed his son. No. He went and struck another sheriff. You see? So now, because of that, they're not charging him with capital murder, because there's a correlation. He retaliated based on what was done with his son and what black people go through in the States. You see? So I'm saying this to you to say that it is a case-by-case situation that tends to exist when it comes to death investigation, because the medical examiner office does not do autopsy on every case. And Mr. Gaiman is right. Yes, the pathologist, that is if the pathologist does not go around collecting bodies. The coroner, and that's the problem that I personally have with the coroners, not just in the United States, but everywhere in the world. The coroner can look at the case and see that, and feel, based on his or her assumption, that an autopsy is not warranted. But then,
this is a very interesting conversation.
Yes.
So what about the Black administration? This current government just said that he instructed the Minister of Justice to investigate all of these cases, including the case we just are talking about here. That's going to. Will you be, and by chance, will you be willing to go and help the government in proving the case that these people were actually killed? But listen, these are all human like us. Like
I fully agree.
Sylvester Lama is a big brother that I knew term back in exile, right? And I didn't know him well personally, but I knew him very well. So if it is established after that these people were actually killed, we'll be happy because the first report that came out, the Ministry of Justice read the report. The report came out and they said clearly from the report that came from the pathologists that conducted the autopsy on the remains of those auditors, right? And they said they got killed from carbon monoxide and the rest of that.
And not right.
But if it is established, now that the new government is saying they want to reawaken the case, now will you be by any chance willing to help them?
Mr. Pewee, Mr. Pewee, honestly, that case, he has prejudiced himself because he made a decision already based on what the medical board says he shouldn't do. Listen, Doc, the medical board says you cannot make a decision if you do not physically examine the body.
Examine the body.
He didn't do that, and he made a conclusion. So now,
but you didn't add the other part though. You didn't add the other part to what I said. I agree with you with what you read, but I also gave you the instance where people that die from carbon monoxide poisoning are not always autopsied. The coroner would give the body, would go to the scene, he would do his documentation, notes and picture-wise, and then he would give the body over to the family. Then the family go and cremate the body. Then you know, a month or two down the road, somebody come up and say, "No, it was your girlfriend that did it." She talked to
that
her.
was not the case here. This year, examination was done, and autopsy was done, and conclusion was made. You never had access to the body. You didn't examine. You didn't do that. So the chances are a guy who went through those steps, who saw the body, examined the body, did an autopsy, who has more evidence, and he said based on all of these things, which is what the board said you should do, they did all of those things. They saw the body, they took the picture, they did the examination, they did the autopsy, they did the toxicology, and they concluded that these people were XYZ. And you here in the United States with one of your photograph evidence say, no, I am better than those guys.
That's the reason why I asked the question when you said that if you went to Liberia
and I'll stand.
But I think there's a need for part 2 of this of your appearance, so we'll take some time.
Yeah, there's so many.
You know, from the beginning, we agree with you in most of the beginning of the discussion, but the disagreement just came just now when you said
no. This is not. It's not about this. It's not about disagreement because I agree with what Mr. Gaiman read. But what I told him was, yes, that would come about. You see that there are telltale signs. For example,
we listen to the telltale aspect of it.
Yes.
But so the telltale sign. You need because in criminal investigation, Dr. Cooper, in criminal investigation that we talk about the preponderance of evidence.
Yes.
Right? The preponderance of evidence is very important in criminal investigation. So if you are not, because only pictorial evidence that's not sufficient.
You know why
it's not sufficient to hold somebody guilty on anything.
But no. You see, here's the thing now. Don't go into guilt. Because that's a mistake that would make in like, bro, which I talked about earlier. When you establish cause and manner of death, that is one thing. Police now must be able to, or law enforcement must be able to put their own findings together. Before you
conclude, the cause and manner of death, if the investigation from the forensic person whatsoever is not done in the correct manner, there will if that is faulty, eventually if you went ahead of time, it will also be faulty. So what I'm saying. If you're
mistaking.
On the basis of their expertise.
Okay, guys, we got 5 more minutes on this topic.
Yes.
On the basis of the
expertise, let the doctor go.
If you did not put into place all of the forensic methodology, there will be some slippages. If there are slippages, if you don't have it correct, it will eventually be faulty.
Yes, but just to a point of correction. So when we say cause and manner of death, that manner, we're not talking about the manner how law enforcement, conducted things at the scene.
Okay.
From the death investigator, so when we say cause and manner, so let me give you an example. Mr. John Brown went for a boat ride. Okay, he was drunk and he fell overboard, and he drowned. That is an accidental death.
Okay.
Mr. John Brown, again, scenario number 2. Stood on the level of the boat because his wife left him. The government fired. He has not worked for 5 years. He's frustrated, and he said he's going to end his life. and so he tied a concrete block to his leg and he jumped in the river and he drowned. That's drowning, but then that's also that suicide. You see? Then you got somebody who you now have somebody, like I said, you got somebody who was now pushed overboard, okay, and he drowned. Now that is a homicidal case. So you see, I gave you 3 manners involving the same cause of death. You see, so you got to know the inner workings of death investigation. And the reason why I was saying to you on pictures is because if somebody was beaten to death, you expect to see something different than if they were shot to death. You see? Obviously, I mean, from a layman's perspective, the person was shot to death, we expect to see bullet mark. I mean, you know, a gunshot wound, right? But if I show you the picture, even though you never even did general science, even from elementary school, but if I show you the picture and there's no bullet wound, you will not believe that that person got shot. You see? So that's why I'm saying, just in terms of, yes, I hear what Mr. Gaiman was saying, but in terms of admissibility, because there are circumstances, there are some now lawyers that go to court and lawyers can win cases on circumstantial evidence.
Of course.
You see?
Of course. Yeah,
we don't always
case on that basis. The evidence-based process is very rich in criminal.
The issue here is on circumstantial evidence, lawyers can win case.
In some cases, but not.
Of course, we're not saying that every single case.
Guys, it's 8:05. We are running out of time. We will have the doctor give us a parting word, and then we will go into current event, and then we call it for the day. It's 8:05 here.
Yeah, 8:05.
I know those of you who are in the Twin State, your Minnesota Timberwolves is about to kick off in 30 minutes. And I can't wait. Doctor, we appreciate you coming. We definitely can use your expertise in Liberia under normal circumstances. Hopefully you can straighten out some things with them. If the difference between your accepting in Liberia is an internship, I know you can find that easily to do around here in the U.S. Anybody with your expertise, you're just going to be doing it backward. Do your 6 month to a year internship. And clear that hurdle so they can't hold that against you. So you can go ahead. We need you in Liberia. Liberia needs a lot of Mr. Cooper, and hopefully you can be an inspiration to the young kids that are doing sciences, medical, biology, whatever they are doing in Liberia. So we can also find, like me, I was sitting and wonder, why would somebody want to be an embalmer? Why would somebody want to be a forensic death investigator? These are gruesome scenes and things that people, but it's an art to it. When you go to the funeral home and you see people who die, a bullet wound, a car accident, and the arts are putting them back together, okay? And they come back to form. It's an art in itself. So we appreciate people like you be around. Hopefully we can all rally around so Liberia can have several layers of what you do for a living. We need you. Is great. Give us your parting words.
Yeah. So, but thanks first and foremost for having me, and I hope the clarity has been provided, so at least the Liberian people will know. First and foremost, not every doctor is qualified to do forensic death investigation. That's one. Number 2. Death investigators are not all required to be medical doctors.
That's fact.
And number 3, my application form, which have been published when I submitted to the LMDC, was simply based on the the different stunts that were pulled back in 2019. And my application clearly states that I was applying for a forensic medical legal death license to practice as a forensic medical legal death investigator. But as the court documents, had now made it clear, doing internship with the LMDC, basically the license that you get is just, it's for general medicine, because it does not qualify you to be a death investigator. And I'm saying it because I don't want somebody to go in and do an internship, and then next thing you know, they want to be a death investigator in Liberia. The Medical Council does not offer training for death investigations, okay? And so at no point in time did I ever apply to work as a pathologist. The problem here is that the entity failed to do its due diligence in finding out what it is that a death investigator does, and B, as it is, they are subjected to giving licensure upon completion of an internship. And I'm saying this just so that because I see that, that there's going to be the act of retaliation going through that process. This is why all videos are being kept, because I would not be surprised if we end up probably at the Supreme Court level in the not so distant future. So with that being said, gentlemen, I want to thank you ever so much, and that clarity has been made. So also there's a huge difference between this Dr. George and myself. My credentials, the LMDC is in possession of it. I didn't have to get in no stories as they talk about with this person. They told me that they could not give me license because I did not have internship, and it has been proven that for what I wanted to do, I don't need licensure from them. So my dealing is strictly with justice. On that note, I'd like to tell you all thank you once again, and I look forward to another round of discussion.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
It was very interactive. And
yeah.
Thank you very much. I learned a lot from you.
Thank you, Dr. Koba.
People like you stay around. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Okay, gentlemen.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, guys, let's go to current event. Tomalin, Judge, anything you want us to touch on? The chief, looking fresh. You've been sleeping well.
How to call it? I can say that I believe on Monday there'll be a breaking. It'll be the final news will be coming up Monday. The impasse of the legislature will come to an end on Monday.
Woo!
It'll finally come to an end. I can confirm you that the legislative impasse that have been on since October of last year.
Mr. Pewee, you seen the signal.
That signal is not clear yet. It's still dangling.
But I can definitely tell you that on Monday, October 12th, the impasse that have been at the legislature since October 17, 2024 will finally come to an end. And I think the process will play out. And
you saw what we did to Dr. Tenney. We'll bring you back here.
I'm saying it.
And what he's saying here to say, and what in diplomacy also we are taught to say, we are hopeful it may come to us.
We are hopeful, yeah. I can tell you that.
A little wiggle room.
I can tell you that from all indication, the final end will come on Monday. It will finally come to an end on Monday, and the Liberian people.
And you still say it will finally come to. Don't say we are hopeful.
You sound like Trump and the Canadian Prime Minister.
Yeah.
You say, Canada cannot be American state. Johnson don't say no.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I believe it will. Hopefully, it will finally come to an end on Monday, and then I think it will turn out a chapter in the history of Liberian politics. But I can say also to that, today the leader of STAN, Mobake Malu Jr., issued a statement that he has survived assassination attempt. People stop laughing. Okay, assassination attempt was made on his life, according to
Pewee. You got a military cap on?
Well, let me see. According to Chairman Malu,
I'm trying to decode the signal of that.
No, I come here. Chairman Malu said that he issued a strong statement. The stand issued a statement that he was an attempt made on his life. Let me see. I won't read the whole statement, a long statement.
Okay.
But he did say that he called or he accusing the government of trying to assassinate him. And that's a serious thing. Okay. According to him, he said, it was a press release that came out. He said, He said the Solidarity Trust for New Day stand and they condemned what appears to be a targeted attack carried out by operators of the National Security Agency, NSA, and the Liberian National Police. Okay. They say they tried to eliminate him. Accusing the government because of the silence dissent before the July 17th nationwide peaceful resistance. He said on Monday, May 5th, between 10:30 p.m. and 11 p.m., STAN Chairman Malu, one of the leading forces behind, was ambushed near the Duper Road traffic light. On new assailants, including a female accomplice, attempted to forcibly open his vehicle. During the incidents, one attacker was visibly armed with firearm. Thanks to the divine grace, the chairman was able to evade the attackers by skillfully maneuvering through oncoming traffic. His tinted windows and quick thinking prevented what could have been a tragic outcome. The only damage sustained was to the front passenger door handle. The Joe Bar incident. 2 days later, on Wednesday, May 7th, around 12:30 p.m., another attempt occurred. An unidentified sedan deliberately blocked Mr. Malu's vehicle in a narrow driveway near Joba, Pinsville. Recognizing the threat, he re-entered his vehicle, advanced toward a smaller assailant vehicle, and forced it to retreat. Those are not isolated incidents. They appear to be deliberate, coordinated, and state-sanctioned operations, and they have failed. And so they say the accusation is an emerging dictatorship threatening our democracy. So this is what Stan is saying, and they're saying this is what happened to the chairman of Stan. He said he survived assassination attempt, and he said also they have illegal wiretapping, 24-hour surveillance, stealing of vehicles, meetings, and contracting criminal elements to carry attack against the leaders. But they say they are resolved to not that they would not be deterred by these attempts on their life. They are going to still come up with this protest. And they are accusing the government of a lot of stuff they listed. So in due course, the Stan official will be coming around here to come and talk more on the protest. You know, they have two officials they appointed. They appointed Attorney Isaac Jackson as one of the spokesperson, and Toga Beardet, Alexander Toga Beardet, one of the national coordinator too. So that's why they are pushing. And then also, lastly, I'd like to make this it's very important when you give somebody their flowers what they are due. You know, there was but go ahead, Mr. Gaben. Let me find his last one.
I think I listened to what you said. I think these are grave accusation against the government, and to point this kind of a grave accusation, you need to come up with very strong evidence that this is a state-sponsored act. And this kind of a thing. I agree that the country is faced with a lot of challenges, but I'm not going to come and say, hey, I'm going to listen to that because it came from someone from the opposition. We do serve in the opposition, but some of us, we are reasonable opposition people sometimes, so we love to investigate the facts before we speak to that. And I would call on the government to respond to those kind of a grave accusation. But again, I don't think it will have to be investigated, and I will hope that we got some outcome from that. But it's grave, and you have to give some serious evidence-based process to some of us to believe all those things that are unfolding. But for the try to be and act sponsored by the structure of the states is, if it is true, and I'm saying if it is true, it's worrying. It's worrisome. But again, there have to be a very serious investigation to come out with these very grave accusations against the states. Quickly, let me go to this issue. There's this concern that came out the last time, and I think somebody shared in the chat room also, of the appointment of Extended Liberty Cameron on the board of the National Fishery and Aquas something. That appointment is not Extended Liberty Cameron.
It will clarify.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just want to call on the government of Liberia, particularly the Liberian presidency. That's a very serious blunder. That's a serious blunder.
Is it a Homa,
I think someone that referred to as a mother figure is not a biological mother, but someone that
because that gay episode you're talking about. I remember the day the president we are considered. That particular girl, what they talking about, that girl was crying on. That girl cried just as somebody lost their man. I mean, man, she cried like a baby, man. I said,
yeah. So the executive manager came out with the name. Now the woman that was being appointed as Extended Liberty, and she named Extended Liberty, and she's Extended Liberty Cameron, and the rest of them went with the exact name and put her photo out. I think the executive manager, the Liberian presidency, is a very serious area. That's a serious institution, the presidency by itself. So I think the presidency will have to be, the press secretary office will have to be very proactive next time to avoid this kind of unnecessary embarrassment that will come onto the presidency and putting one name. And she was, a lot of congratulatory messages going to her face on the newspaper and all of things, but she was not the actual person that was appointed by the president. But again, beyond that, as we move on to the 13th on Monday, what I'm hopeful of is that we come to a finality to this process. We are behind the same. There's some frantic effort made by both sides to ensure that we come to some level of conclusion. We just hopeful. The situation is still a little fluid. due to the fluidity of it, we cannot run to conclusion from certain perspective, and meaning that will be from the diplomatic perspective. For other political perspective, also, it's not over until it's all concluded. So we're very hopeful that we come to some conclusion on this process and move through the line. I don't know if they will reach that line. Somebody is somehow very convinced that we run into the conclusion, but I'm not a little worried because Coon believe he's the speaker. He should remain the speaker. And others believe no. Kofa is actually the speaker as per the Supreme Court. Kofa is now waiting at what we are waiting to resign. There's this conversation unfolding, but now if Coon is his side waiting to move to do the needful by leaving, and we have a fresh elections to kick the process started. And I think the person that led the negotiation, I understand from the former president perspective, these were some of the things we're hearing from inside sources close to the former president that both sides should leave. Kofa is leaving, Kun should also leave, and then we have a fresh election. That will open the box for potential. My man laughing, so I need to with you.
But what I do know is that I know
potential
like
individual, like a major political party, political leaders, we hear information. We don't want to call the time until we hear that a fresh election.
Yeah,
we'll require a bit, and we'll tell you who's going to be the next speaker.
But there have been a breakthrough. I think I think this days finally come to an end. And because on Tuesday, the lawmakers returned from their recess. They back to session. Both houses will be back in session. So on the eve of that, which is Monday, May 12th, there will be a very significant news development that will take place to bring this impasse to an end. So that's what I know. But Mr. Gimme, quickly, let me just please, can I just please give me 2 minutes? Let me read this thing from this group called Mwean Consulting and Technology Group. For immediate release. Mwean, I don't know how to call it, but they donated 300 chairs to the University of Liberia, supporting better learning environments. Okay, in a continuous effort to promote quality education and national development, Myean has donated 300 classroom chairs to the University of Liberia. During the dedication of the chairs, which occurred on April 29, Mr. Vivian C. Jones, President and CEO of the Myean, stated at Myean, who believe that the right environment plays a critical role in how students learn, grow, and lead. This donation is more than just chairs. It's about making room for future leaders. The chairs were officially handed over at a brief ceremony held on the university's Fenner campus and attended by a representative from the University of Myean. Well, I want to say thanks to Ms. Shemia Falacia Jones Kapi, head of commercial at Myean. Myean and Mr. Jones is the CEO of that company. I think they help. They try to help us, like computer company, Liberia Technology company, and they donated chairs to the University of Liberia because you who attend University of Liberia. Some of who are privileged to attend a private university in Liberia. We don't have a problem with chairs in Liberia. I mean, we know how we go class. Our chairs already seated there.
Why are you picking on Pewee, man?
No, I'm picking up. I'm saying it. So, people give university chairs. I salute them because honestly, there were times, right?
Pewee was sitting on the ground.
Isaac, Mr. Gimmick, Isaac, we should do something, go have a meeting at every campus. And I see the guy there fighting for chairs.
Yeah, that's fine.
I saw it. In fact, I won't call him, but the old man I used to sell the cover in 404, the Tomagi of the Oma. Then the Oma doing that business together. Okay. I know, I mean, I partner her for that business, but yeah, and when that woman came out of on campus, in less than, that's in finish. Yeah. They call Mamusu, but she passed she late now. Mamusu. So well know that you'll do that 404 business there.
No, give me honest, you know,
I get that credit though. The train will fight for chairs to go on campus and to get in classroom. And so when we stand here taking notes, and the thing I used to hide my feeling in Liberia, people, teacher writing notes on a board. Look, and they have some guy there, they can write. You see them writing notes on the board. Then there's a facing pamphlet. Then you got to buy the pamphlet. Oh, man, that country. Thank God, look. Hey, God, that country there. You got to buy the pamphlet. But the people who grew up from in Firestone, we never thought about that one. They will give you books, free books. They give you, with our web teaching honor, they give you books free. Everything they give you free. They give you everything free.
Even up to now,
Yeah, you know,
Professor
but,
is still writing on the board. But yeah, Professor,
yeah, but when we got to the Liberian school system now,
to
where
demonstrate
school
what
start
is being
high
said,
school,
but normally,
get involved in that board writing there.
yeah,
Buying pamphlet.
every classroom here in the U.S. university classroom will have projector, you know, and they got a professor decks. You go there and log in.
And we got a smart board now.
The smart board and the lesson plan is being done from home for the professor.
And then you do it on your laptop this time.
And you review it for the laptop, and you send it to whatever, and you come and teach. Right? It's sent to the system and other things. I mean, it just, I'm hopeful. I'm very hopeful. But it is, get me honest here, it's a serious challenge. And I'm hopeful today we have someone that came from the perspective of the world's most powerful country. Is currently the president of the University of Liberia. Even before she came in, Dr. Dennis came, he brought in some a lot of changes, if you will, during Dr. Dennis days, and even during the time we served at the university campus, because we graduated when he came in eventually, but Dr. Hassan Conte and other university president, Dr. The one that went blind, former president, I just slipped the name of, but Ben Roberts, the university. And that's one of the reasons when President Weah came in, his intent was you make the university tuition free so you can support. But that came also with some challenges, because that was good from the perspective of helping the students and the families, those market women like us, how we went to school, through a market woman having you sponsor to school. Then we have to go through a lot of daily rigor to get those things done. So it was very helpful from that perspective. And why that did also alleviated the cost from most of those private institutional individuals that before used to give a lot of scholarship to the University of Liberia to different students, county associations and other things, you know. But the other side of it, because tuition and fee help the university raise a lot of money also, and then what the government will get will also, that the tuition and fee will complement what will come from the government. If that is closed up again, that's where the government are facing some challenges. So we will need some serious support for infrastructure to enhance the infrastructure on the campus in terms of having buses for the students, enhancing the classroom. The federal campus with Madam Sadi and the Chinese government did the federal campus. That's a huge bid for the extension, huge campus, a lot of spacious classroom that we now give, and that of chairs. And the Chinese government also help and furnish part of the federal campus that was. So we just need to expand and extend and increase the infrastructure process on the campuses of the university. The 4 campuses, the CJ campus, the Doklati campus, the Myean campus, the Capitol Hill Myean campus, and that of the federal campus, and all those things. So there will have to be some money spent, enhance faculty training, enhance classroom methodology process, and the way the classrooms are structured, create a kind of a way that will help professors train. So those of us, even I graduated from the university, if you return now back here to go to school here in the US, it will return, we all go and contribute and help others, incoming generation, to have a very wonderful tertiary education that will help move the country forward. You know, that's the macrocosm of the larger society. It should be treated like, and it's the only university in the country. So I think the government should pay some attention and put some money in terms of enhancing the those different laboratories, the science lab, the agricultural labs, and all those things. We have different areas, even the engineers labs, because engineering students will have to go to labs to see how a bridge is constructed, and all those things are done, those basic other techniques that have to be deployed. But we still got some challenges there. I would say this to you, but yeah, under the circumstances, we went through those difficult times, but I think it worth it, but it will have to be increased so that we be on par with international process. And the curriculum will have to be reviewed also, that will bring it in line. You can't be doing business, something before people were still doing our OTC 101, we did our 101 up to 200 level. Now, this time people will do certain courses straight in your area, right? You just focus on those things. And we did, this is like social sciences area, all of things that they would say these are compulsory courses that you have to take. So it have to be, but I think we're moving on. But we want to see what's going to happen on Monday, and then Tuesday. Tony is saying, I'm going to sit down and relax on this one, because I said I'm very tired on this thing.
Yeah.
What he hearing that we're not hearing.
On
I'm still doubtful. I'm hopeful, but I'm still doubtful that anything going to happen Monday.
On another thing, again, let me say this though. I'm not a journalist, but what I like to do what they call due diligence. Okay, I know I've been seeing video being sent to me over the last 24 hours about money that was generated in the 2024 budget, in the 2024 budget year, mainly from LPRC and MPA. I think it was, from what I'm hearing, $249 million, but the money never went into the government consolidated account. They were not part of the government budget.
200.
Now, that's why I got to verify. That's what I'm saying now. I got to verify these things.
And before that thing, I would say for it can be closer to
Yeah, but they say LPRC.
Too much.
LPRC, but now I said I think about four of these Asian entities.
Yeah.
LPRC, MPA, but they never contributed to the national budget. Yeah, but the money they generated, they didn't contribute to the national budget. So the question is,
they didn't at all.
They didn't all put money in the national budget. So now I'll reach out to Amos Tue and Sekou Dukle. I'll reach out to them and ask them to clarify. Now, if they try to play hardball and refuse, I will believe what I'm hearing. But I'll give them the opportunity to tell us how much they raised last year, how much they generated last year, and from LPRC, how much generated, how much you generated from revenue from MPA, and based on what it would say, I will come and be honest with you guys. If they tell me, if they give me documents to show how much they generated, and the question will be, why did they not contribute to the national budget? Okay, because then what happened to the money that they generated? Because they are being accused of using the money because they generated money, no contributed to the national budget, so they use this money. So I'll reach out to them to do due diligence. I won't just run with it. I'll find out from them what it is true. But if it is true that the money they raised it millions of dollars and they didn't put it in the national budget, and then people start the question have legitimate concern to raise, because if you notice, people are saying, and that's why Councillor Gongloe said how he ran for president, how he won presidency, he would have called for lifestyle audit. And I think we're supposed to introduce in our government our lifestyle audit. If Tomalin comes to office, say my bank account is $5,000, I own a 3-bedroom home, and then I also have a 2020, 2024, 2023 or 2020 or Toyota sedan. Okay, then after 6 months to a year, if they see me with a brand new car, strictly that brand new car that costs about $80,000, then they see me with my house getting expanded, and then they see my left jet change. I'm working for money though, but if that change overnight, the first thing got to find out how I'm getting this wealth, how am I acquiring this wealth to change my whole life. That's called lifestyle audit, and it's very important. Well, in our country, once you serve the public space, you understand that you are obligated to the people of Liberia. You can't tell me they have the right to know what you're making, have the right to know what you're doing with the money in your budget. You have the right to know it. You can't hide it from them. So we'll ask these questions. So I'll reach out to them tomorrow. Tonight I'll send messages to both of them to find out I want to know what you guys generated last year as revenue, and if so, did you contribute to the national budget or not? If no, what you do with the money?
Great. Real quick here, we have to be honest, and we have to put people basically in a hot seat. When Dr. Tenney was leaving, he said, you can get a PhD without having an undergraduate degree, and he sourced and referenced Ophelia Weeks as somebody who didn't have a master's degree, had a PhD. So I reached out to FIU. I'm in Florida, and this is what the university said. Ophelia Weeks has a master's degree from the University and a PhD from the University of Texas, El Paso. So, Dr. Tenney, I think you need to come back here. You owe Dr. Weeks an apology that you say she didn't have a bachelor's degree.
Listen, that whatsoever, for me, I call him Mr. Tenney. because it's actually states on it, all right. What Mr. Tenney said here about what happened, he's the only person, strangely, that found himself in that category. I know official, we wouldn't want to go back and forth on that process. We have to take some time, but it will be very good if he came back also to push the process out. But yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, the reason we do this is, besides the joke, when you are dealing with people's repetition, their career, and you just throw names out there. Sometimes it's good. Some of us will go and dig. I live in Florida. Florida International is a very renowned university. The reason they are renowned is that they call it international. The best bring from Cuba, from Brazil, from Argentina, from Germany, from all over the world. They go out there to teach. So they are a very serious university. And this one PhD is in computational mathematics and science. This woman got her master's degree in mathematics. So we're not talking about, and these are not private universities, these are state University of Texas, El Paso. So those of you who went to state universities, I think you would tell, you in the private school can cut corners here, they can do it, but the state universities, they are regulated. You can't just come from anywhere and do your own thing. So to mix, I mean, Dr. Weeks is highly respected in Florida here because the woman is brilliant. Put her in a category as yourself to say, I don't need undergraduate degree because this and that. And I also check, Pewee, before we go, I check around to see whether it is true that you can get to a university without a degree, and I got the answer for you. We got one on a certain circumstances in terms of war. The Red Cross, the international bodies can vouch for you to say this person graduated from this school, but because of the war, the records are burned, the records are no longer there, and the person can go to a school. And they gave me a particular example. There was the former principal for BWR, what he needs, Salif. Mr. George, you're helping me out. The former principal for BWR way back, I think it was Salif.
Oh, Doc Salif, eh?
Yeah, Doc Salif. They say he was at a university, he was at Prairie View University in Texas. It's a HBCU. And through him, he vowed in court that because of the war in Liberia, most of the schools were damaged, records were burned. So most of the kids that came through the Episcopal system went to the school over there with all graduation papers, and they got into university there. Most never made it, obviously, because they got there because of what they said they were. So yes, on a certain circumstances, if you are in a war from a refugee camp, somebody can vouch for you. So if this is the system that Dr. Tenney used, he needs to come back and let us know that somebody vouched for him through, because I know he mentioned the refugee camp. If you were in a refugee camp and he didn't have a certificate, somebody could vouch for him and say, because of the war, the University of Liberia burned down, they can't get his record. So yeah, we vouch he can do their work. So that was the circumstance, and those were the stuff we got. And then the second research showed that Ophelia Weeks does have a legitimate degree in mathematics.
Yeah.
In the University of Texas, El Paso.
But so maybe he's gonna come in and speak to that moving forward. If someone is concerned about if I'm a member of the Alumni Association of the University of Liberia.
Oh, they want to hook you up for your fees.
Lucy, yeah, Lucy.
You gotta pay your fees going back 10 years.
People when they come to that issue, people forget it.
You gotta pay your fees for 10 years back.
Listen, and beyond us advocating time to time for the University of Liberia, we've always make our business. Our late comrade, at the time, the senior class, beyond that, comrade James David, may his soul rest in peace. When and one part of the reason we had conversation at the time, the person, this is directly going to the person that's concerned about my role. We had conversations about the university, And part of the reason was to ensure how we can bring the association back, because the university is a very powerful institution. The Alumni Association of the University of Liberia is the only state-run university in the country with a lot of powerful men and women that graduated from the university across the globe. Yes, and also back home in the country. So the quest there was, how can we revamp this institution and ensure that the institution is more powerful and we will contribute and be a voice for the institution moving forward? Because the Alumni Association responsibility is up to it's a kind of what I want to is a social contract strength of the university to ensure the public relation arm. Let me put it that way. It's a public relation arm of the university to project the university in more positive stand and seek a lot of support for the university. Yes, I'm a strong member of that. I still believe in that, my dear brother. We've contributed, and we will always pay our quota. We pay our due. We will always continue to do what we live on earth. If God will continue to bless us, we're going to do that. It's an institution that we struggle at the University of Liberia with everything one day you believe one can do on the university campus the good way, and we didn't have any bad record. And then fictitious activities. We didn't indulge in anything fictitious all our time at the University of Liberia. But the quest was we took part in student politics. I contested to be the student representative. I was defeated.
By whom?
But man, Patton defeated me in that election. He was the soup candidate. It was the time we were expelled from soup, and then we challenged. It was part of the reason.
You expelled from soup too?
Yeah, we challenged. It was the leg of Wilmot Smith, the current ambassador to Paris. Now we have Tiko Yole. So they said we were expelled because we went against the party. And after we went against the party, we were expelled. So I contested, I was defeated, but it didn't silence our voice. We were still very proactive. I also played a very major role from the LUSA, the perspective of this Lofa University Student Association. So yes, we did play other roles, and we were very proactive. And so I spent most of my time on the university campus. At the time after school, my late father served different capacity, and his last role now was the dean of the College of General Studies. So sometimes we were around the campus and doing. So we did understand the movement of the campus actually, and we play our roles in all facets of student politics and what you will. So yes, my brother, we're still going to continue on that line, and our alma mater is going to be the University of Liberia. We're proud of the university, and that's why you heard me just now say we got some challenges, but yes, the university got, and that's why I always can challenge people. The university still got some very good faculty staff, very strong individuals. And that's why I disagree when Lester was saying that the entire department, they were incompetent people. And that would be difficult for me to take, because that institution trained, we agree in some cases, some TAs didn't have, but yeah, those TAs were playing the role as TAs, as TA all we want to do. But the university got some strong men and women, right? We have strong people like Mr. Young and all those things. A lot of great people. I wouldn't even call their name. Professor Alari Tokpa, great intellectuals, academicians, right? Put together those thought issues and other things. So at the time, the university, we indulged into politics. Student politics will always be part of the university culture. And we did that. And today it is because of the university we got trained. We're proud to be part of that institution. And we will always, trust me, if I were to be anything in the future, the president or whatsoever, I will still pay my due to the university, and I will make sure and things have to move in the way and manner it have to be done.
How many years are you behind with your membership?
So, Mr. President,
I'm active.
Howard,
I'm active.
Oh, you're active. Okay.
I'm very active.
He was a dupe member. He's active with his membership and everything.
I'm active.
Oh,
listen,
good,
and
good.
beyond me be active, the next thing I'm telling you to do now is I'm coming.
I got the former president on the line. He wants to say something. Go ahead, Mr. Former President.
Tomalin Joe, how you doing?
Yeah, you're live on Closing Argument. No, you live.
Hi, how you doing, guys? This is Melvin D. Howard, former national president of the University of Liberia Association in Americas.
Okay.
And I listen to my brother Pewee, my comrade, and sometimes people gotta be careful with only public platform and how you express your concern. I do understand your passion for the University of Liberia, But I posed a question to you based upon what you were saying. Are you a member of both the Alumni Association, whether here in America or back home?
Now, you see,
for my collection, you have not seen been active. Because I
but no, listen. I'm not. And let me make it clear before you continue. I can't, hold on. Let me make it clear before you continue.
Yes, we were trying.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, wait now.
Go ahead.
So, the late James David, he had passion for the association because I was heading the group in America here, and we put like 6 other countries together. The folks from Nigeria, the folks from Canada, the folks from Europe, because we were trying to build up movement to help the University of Liberia. And through my presidency, I think Jimmy George can allude to that. We send a lot of support to the University of Liberia, including the computers, including Marcus Group and everything. And one of the challenges that you said, some of the challenges the university had, yes, while it is true the free tuition was very good, but the sustainability of that program hampered the operation of the University of Liberia. And some of us said that we welcome the idea. You give it something free, but how are you going to sustain it? Because those money to help the administration to run operational funds. So the university went down. So again, people, I will encourage you. I'm not going to put you on the spot. We stay open for membership. Let's help the university. You are a sound guy. You're very smart. Yeah, politics is good, but this school are made out of us. Let's come and work together. Both in America, you can call that Timothy George. If you're here, I need to be part of the association. We're very strong here. We're having our convention in Maryland in October. In Silver Spring, you can come to our convention. If you're in Liberia, I can recommend you to the leadership there. Jesus is not there, and you can work along with them. So thank you.
Yeah, and let me. You just came and said, is it something like a good for something? But yeah, I'll do it with Tuna. We don't just find on everything. But here's what I said. I also said the free tuition process. This is what I said when I said it. The free tuition process was good, but it brought some serious challenge to the university. I said that. And another thing also is that I didn't say, I don't even know who are the leaders here in the U.S. I just came in the U.S. a couple of years ago, so I'm not part of the association in the U.S. I didn't claim that. I'm looking forward to the feedback, man.
So, terrible feedback.
Yeah, okay. I'm looking forward, basically, to if there's one active here, I'm looking forward to be part of that, right? But the role we play back in the country, what I'm talking about, I was talking about back. And yeah, I am a member of the Alumni Association of the University of Liberia. I was not talking about the USA side. Since I came back, I think no one had engaged me to join. But now that he sounded this invitation to me, trust me, I'm going to take on to it. As you said, the next annual convention is going to be in October this year. If I'm in the country, if I'm here in the country, trust me, I will attend that. And I'm making it my business to do it because it is important that we all push the line, the advocacy. I'm one of those beyond that. I've used the new progressive process before back in the country to advocate on behalf of the University of Liberia. We've done this with different institutions. One, to protect the university record. It's one. Because there are a lot of people sometimes want to put the university in the mud and all those things. Yeah, I agree. Looking forward to joining here. But yes, we've been part of it and we will always make it our business. Yeah.
Very insulted people. You get no proof. Yeah, come on. Have you attended the people convention? Rating is not called for, man.
You say what?
What's your rating? The LU Association is one on Melvin was very powerful. You know that they raised thousands of dollars. The work can be shown. They work. They're not doing man woman business. These are all good up people.
They're attacking Melvin Association. Actually, they did some good job because
it's a good job. You can't imagine man woman business. Who tell you that the convention?
Before even Jim David could die,
we'll call you out on this kind of thing, man.
Jim David was very pointed because Jim David
was you know that you make it come at that.
A Young Life international group he had. When he came to the US,
people that you don't even know.
Yeah, she said I'm writing thing. I'm not saying I'll pour in checks for that. Because I know I can't be Melvin because I know what particular man did when you were president of the Alumni Association. I know he did. He raised thousands of dollars, and the work can be shown at every campus. The support of the work at every campus.
Let me correct the part. Even the bathroom.
Just to highlight to your listening public. When I was president, I took over 1,900. When I left with 300,000 cash. And beside the 300,000 in our bank account, there are a lot of projects we undertook. Like I said,
when is for it?
the record that, and more recently, the new administration just installed solar panel light on the St. J campus, on all the campuses.
Yesterday, read insulting people must have never
So if you don't know something, it's good to ask about it. You know, the reason why I talked to my brother Pewee because
no, not people.
I listened to Dr. Tino on the line, talking about a father from the university. Very good comrade. I'm not putting on the spot, but we need men like you. So now we have to put it aside.
She's the first to insult. She's insulting now. There's a woman insulting somebody here. She insulted.
No. Maybe trust me. I'm gonna get. Maybe I'm gonna get your number. I'm gonna get your number today. I'll get a number from Tomalin now. I'm gonna get engaged. I'm gonna get.
Yes, sir. How you doing? I can't yes, sir.
Yeah. I'm going to engage and listen.
Smart guy, I've been listening, I've been following when he and Lester Tino on it. We need to help the university. The university needs help. No government. We cannot depend on any government. Not if we are government. Not if we are government. That made us to be who we are today, Pewee. So I will get in touch with you. I'm not putting on the spot, brother. And, together we help the university. The university needs a lot of help. But the president will be coming to the convention. Dr. Myean, we already should be in Maryland for our convention in October.
I would definitely be there.
That we can do together to help our school. All right, Georgie, let's keep in touch.
If I'm in the country, definitely I would definitely be. But before Myean gone, maybe we'll talk about that.
Are you listening?
Myean, what's the status of the Alumni Association headquarters that is almost at the front there? There's a foundation done before, and part of James David's vision was to erect that, and because that was the foundation is there. What is the status of that? Oh, he's gone, right?
Yeah.
I just want to know that one of the things the Alumni Association get ready to push also, they're trying to push as a huge foundation. There's very solid foundation, almost close to the south, the Capitol building there. Right there.
I mean, Mr. Gamer, something like
quickly, too many. As a lot of projects the alumni also carry out over there. There are other projects, even from immediate classes that came on. Myean and other classes that graduate came before the post-project, the bathroom project, the also extended bathroom issue, and all those things. So people that don't have the history of the university before they made it kind of a public pronouncement.
You saw people
seek the history of the university before coming out.
You see, library organizations, especially in the Americas, their biggest problem that money have been money. But I tell you, the organization I'm part of, when we go to meeting like our Firestone group, we just had a meeting on Sunday. The minute kind of money issue, imagine it can just pass quickly because everybody can be satisfied. Nobody have a problem. Its transparency is there. And like right now, we're undertaking project with the clinics in Gibi, which we're trying to do right now, to renovate clinic and build an annex to the high school there. So when it comes to issue them, but people don't attend none of these things there. They just said I made the comments. That's why they get helping when I see people taking how money to fly the convention, taking the time to buy the packages to support the causes and the transparency that are involved nowadays. And you sit down, you just insult them. It's unacceptable.
I was just in Liberia in January. I went to the UF camp on the UL campus. I saw a lot of, I think construction going on. I don't know who doing those, but like you said, towards the Capitol building there, to up the hill, there was some construction going on. There was some renovation going. There was a lot of work.
I left the country for a year, 6 months now. So I mean, but again, another thing, even we're getting information that the GD building, that a lot of area, even the FQ building on the campus, there are a lot of buildings that are being renovated of the past government. There's some the GD building and the GH building. There's some building. There's some, but even the TH building also. So there are a lot more. But beyond that, before as Myean said, the CJ campus, I didn't know that there's some, and the university president even stated this he's trying to introduce this solar plate system on all of the campuses now. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Myean just said the St. James campus is being something. I've visited the St. James campus before. So the 4 campuses of the university, if that would be done, that's what she's saying, it's a good thing. And that will help also improve the learning ambience on campus during time of learning, right? The university.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Good.
And we gotta get the government credit for what they have done. When we're talking about getting the bad doctors, the actors out of the system, it's a good thing. Hopefully they don't stop.
But that guy brave.
Yes.
I mean, but the guy, he managed to go to become president of the Liberian Dental Medical Association.
Can you imagine?
Imagine and I'm raised on him. The guy would have been president. And then you cut people, you play left on people. The guys are wicked people, bro.
We have to give the government credit. we got to give Mr. Cully also, Martin Cully. We have to give, like I said, like Mr. Pewee was saying, in the land of technology, it's almost impossible for you to hide and do some of these things. But we got to give the government credit. At least they didn't say that big man here, you're leave him alone. They were able to bring him down.
Yeah,
and
I bet I'm on the run though.
Oh, he has to be.
I bet on the run.
If we see what like brother were arresting and prosecute him for that.
Yeah, I feel like I'm on the run because people give me the stories what he did to them. People that he temper with.
Man, the last area you should do those kind of thing.
I mean,
medical fraud. Come on, man.
I don't know anybody that do medical thing there. You get involved in that one.
Wow. So, Mr. George, thank you very much for allowing me to host for you today. Pewee, thank you for coming on. We learned a lot today. A lot. You see, that's how we keep telling them, folks. It's not all about politics. There's a lot that we need to learn, and this is what
we already going, man. Time over.
Let's go, guys. Thank you very much. I'll see you tomorrow.
We're putting the signal up again.
Yes. Josh, if Monday this year, if not resolved, we'll bring you back on the hot seat.
But the only way you're gonna resolve, you play people life. You play, and that. No, but seriously, how long the guy been existing to be killing people?
Yes.
To make it
yeah, man, I is it a Jamaica that's like you.
Jamaica, that's man.
I love Jamaica.
This is Jamaica just got on the scene now. They made this. Okay, guys, tomorrow.
Good night, man.
Amen.
Let's have a whole show on it tomorrow.
Amen.
Let's have a whole show tomorrow.
Okay.